What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode and live stream of Let's Get Nuts here on the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back, guys. We are at episode 81 of Let's Get Nuts, which is absolutely wild today. We're gonna have a little bit of fun. We're gonna talk to the boys here about streaming versus going to the cinema. How do you kind of make your calculus as to which one you choose? We're gonna also talk about a different size of toy line, because I'm curious what the guys here on the panel collect maybe outside of 6 scale. And then of course we've got some Hot Toys news to talk about, potentially a little Inart, hard to say. But guys, I can't wait to get nuts with you guys today. If you like the video today, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and of course, let's get nuts.
What are you doing? You're completely outnumbered here. Are you nuts? You want to get nuts? You want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts? You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Alrighty, welcome back. All right, let's bring in our co-host of the show, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. One Adam 12th is back with us. How you doing, man? Good to see you again.
Hey Ben, how are you? Good afternoon. So I don't know, I might be a little wired now. What's that?
I said twice in 1 week.
I know. Yeah, that's right. We had the late night show the other night.
That's right.
So I might be a little wired. Just as we were about to go on, Emily came in. She was out with my wife and got me a strawberry shake at this local place near us, Stewart's. It was one of my favorite strawberry shake. I got that, and then I got my Dunkin' coffee. So it's gonna be
double fisting.
Oh my goodness! Woo.
Love it, man.
Some hot takes
double
tonight.
fisting the coffee, the strawberry shake,
and the strawberry shake.
Wild.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I'm glad to have you back. Thanks for popping back in. Yes, we did have the open mic a couple nights ago, so if you guys missed it, a little bit more casual than Let's Get Nuts, just kind of shooting the shit, having kind of some first reactions at some of the figures that we saw popping up. But now we've had a couple days to sit on the news and sit on our wallets and kind of decide what maybe we want to do, especially with a few more announcements popping up. And of course, I think it was yesterday, which was the 20th, was Batman Day, so we're going to talk a little bit about Batman in the show today as well. But dude, always happy to have you here. Let's get on with our next guest, of course, the man, also another myth within the community, somebody who loves Wolverine and might actually be Wolverine himself in real life. Let's be honest, it's Dave, Mr. X-Men Supreme, hiding behind his non-cape. You love to see it, buddy. Good to see you, man.
What's up, y'all?
Good to see you, buddy.
Just smoothing it out.
Man, that Wolverine display up above you, though, is actually looking really crispy, buddy.
Right. I love that thing so much.
Hell yeah, dude. And we're gonna talk. I think Brown Suit is on here today. Let me double check. Do I have Brown Suit on here? Yeah.
He's on the thumbnail. You better be.
Yeah, we got a little Brown Suit in here, so we gotta talk a little bit more, because I've been sitting on my opinions since our open mic session the other night, and I might have a different take for you guys this time. So now that I've had a chance to take a better look, so dude, happy to have you here as always. Anything happened for you this week, man, that you were all excited about?
Well, actually, yeah. I'll save it for a little bit later when we talk about that particular subject. But yeah, something did kind of happen.
Stay tuned, dude. Happy to have you here. We're gonna have Pete, our of course friend from Only Fools and Collecting, from across the pond, here pretty soon with us. So stay tuned for Pete. He's gonna be here, and then potentially some other panelists. The link is in the chat if anybody else wanted to jump in who is in that Let's Get Nuts stream. We have 20 people here already getting nuts with us on a Sunday. If you guys don't mind hitting the like button, definitely would be appreciated to get the show going here. Also, special shout out to Ron E. Ron, at the very end of last Let's Get Nuts, so this is already 2 Sundays ago, very end of the show, he gifted 5 channel memberships. And I'd meant to shout it out, dude, before I wrapped the show. And then as I wrapped it, I was like, no, I forgot to call it out. So, dude, thank you so much for your generosity 2 Sundays ago, getting 5 people some gifted memberships. I definitely appreciate it. I did see it, just hadn't had a chance to say thank you yet. So thank you again for that. But let's get warmed up here. Now, some of you guys who are a Star Trek fan out there in the world, you will recognize this reference right away. If you don't, I will explain the reference. So it's a what would you do question, and it's an ethical debate. on the left-hand side here, you see a screenshot of 2 Star Trek characters. Now, the context for this situation is Tuvok, the gentleman in the yellow and black outfit, and Neelix on the right-hand side get in a transporter. And if you don't know Star Trek, transporters just basically beam you down to a planet. But there's a transporter accident, and it combines both of these individuals into one being, which is that Tuvix down below. Now, as Tuvix becomes a person and starts to have his own likes and interests and all of these things, the captain has to decide, well, I miss my old friends. I miss Tuvok and I miss Neelix. They were separate people. They were separate entities. But this new being wants its own life and wants to live and doesn't want to die. So if you were the captain, how would you make the choice on this ethical debate? Would you bring your 2 friends back to life? Or would you say goodbye to your old friends in favor of the new life form that now exists in front of you? So for me, I think, honestly, I would want my old friends back. I think if you can see here on the bottom corner, it says for separate, if this was your choice, some of the thought process there might be they were accident victims. They didn't ask for it. They have a right to be separate. They have their own families. They deserve to have their lives back. I think that would be my choice, but that would also mean killing Tuvix, or unlifing him, I guess, as they say in the YouTube sphere nowadays, or something like that. So, Adam, what would you think, buddy? What would you do to get warmed up today?
Well, my ethics are situational, so and morally flexible. So if they're both my friends, yeah, I got to bring my friends back. But if I never cared for these 2 guys before, and the new person that's there, I've become very good friends with, well, you got to do what you got to do. No, I think, in all seriousness, I think you have to bring back the original and separate them, because remember, the new identity only exists because of an accident of that fused the other 2 personalities together. So that new person would not exist without the other 2. You have to bring the other 2 back, because the other 2 also have. It's not just your relationship with them. The other 2 have, relationships with other people, their own families. So you have to think about there's other dimensions of this you have to think about, and it's that those characters, those individuals, other relationships and other connections to the world at large, not just yours.
Well said. Well said. Valkyrie Magnus here with a $1.99 super chat says the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
True.
For the one. I don't know. Hard to say. I agree with that to a certain extent. I think everything you said makes sense, Adam, for sure. But I remember watching this episode, and I remember the pain in the captain's eyes when she's trying to still think about literally taking the life of this individual who, again, has now their own interests and life desires and has made friendships as well and all of the things. X-Men, I know you're not a huge Star Trek guy, but still an interesting ethical debate. Where would you land on a subject like this?
Is it granted that getting rid of him brings back the other 2, or is there a chance that you don't get anybody back at all in the process?
In the episode, at the very least, good question, they were pretty confident that they could recreate kind of the transporter accident that happened and unlink them both. They were very confident, I think, for the most part, that could happen.
Okay, cool. Bye, Tuvix.
Bye, Tuvix. Tuvix is gone.
It's simple. It's simple, like
Sure.
This guy, got to show up and have a good time for a little bit, and hey, that's great, bud. But he shouldn't be here, and the other 2 should be. And that's just what it is.
Absolutely. That's fair. So, accident victim. What do you guys think in the chat? Send me some comments here in the chat, and I will read them out as we move into the next one. But yeah, interesting thoughts. And I think, whenever we see an ethical debate like this, if you guys ever on the panel see one in a show or a movie, or you think of one that you're interested in bringing up, bring them to me on the show, and we'll toss them in, because I like some thought cookies. I like a little food for digestion. So guys, I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thanks for warming up with Star Trek today. It's always a good time. I saw yesterday that Superman, of course, the newest James Gunn DC film, is now streaming officially on HBO Max. If you're in Canada, I was able to watch it on Crave. And so I watched it for my 3rd viewing. I think I actually liked it the most on the third viewing. Yeah, if I'm honest, it was a good show, good movie, I should say. But I was curious because now that it's available on streaming, anybody who didn't go to see it in the theater now has the opportunity. Anybody who did see it in the theater, of course, has another opportunity as well. But I don't think I've ever had a chance to ask you guys, like, what's the calculus breakdown when we now know that films, we don't have to wait months and months and months, sometimes a year like we used to have to back in the day. You know, you see a film in theaters, you're going to wait for the VHS or the DVD release at the Blockbuster 9 months later, 10 months later. So by that point, sometimes you've forgotten the movie by the time you get a chance to watch it. Whereas I literally just watched this twice a month ago and I've already got a chance to see it for the third time. But part of me thinks like I kind of almost wasted my money going that much to the theater when I could have easily just been a little patient. Having said that, the theater experience for this movie was freaking cool. And something that I didn't get even with my home sound system was some of that impact damage, you know, like when he hits the snow or some of that craziness you just don't get. So for me, I think it depends. I think I like seeing superhero films on the big screen overall. And there's a part of me that likes kind of the date night experience of just going out to a film and getting out of the house a little bit. But otherwise, I think most of the time lately, I actually am more inclined to wait for a film to hit streaming, especially if it's slower or more of a drama, or depends on the genre for me. So, curious for you guys. Actually, X-Men, I'll go to you first, buddy. What determines whether you're willing to spend your money at a theater, or if you're going to wait for streaming?
I like seeing a movie in a theater more than I do seeing it at home, but I really don't like having to deal with the people in the theater. That ruins it for me a lot of the time. That being said, if it's something that I'm a fan of, I'm going to go see it in the theater because I want it to succeed. So I'm going to spend my money and my time, and you know, whatever dumb kids got their foot in my back of my seat in the theater, you know, whoever is sitting next to me friggin' doesn't know how to close their mouth while they're chewing, or can't keep their friggin' hands out of their friggin' tiny little bag of candy rattling around. I swear, if murder weren't a punishable offense,
Yeah.
but I will weather all of that to support a movie from something that I am a fan of. I will see all the MCU movies in the theater. I don't care. I like the MCU and I want it to succeed. I will watch any superhero movie in the theater because I want that stuff to succeed. I want to, you know, put my vote in for it.
Really good.
And then I'll watch it, a whole bunch of it comes out on streaming. But it is more convenient to watch streaming and all of that. But I just don't want to be that guy who complains that something failed when I didn't contribute.
Makes sense. When I saw Spider-Man No Way Home, there was a person behind me, and I think he may have had a handicap, so like all good, but like he forecasted every scene of that movie as it was happening behind
Rain
me
Man?
to his family, just like as it was happening. Like, oh, I think this is when Toby's gonna come out of the portal. He comes out of the portal. It's like, God, it was like every scene though. He was just like, but he was loving it. So like, part of me was annoyed because I was listening to somebody talk about the movie as we were watching the movie. On the other hand, yeah, that's part of the experience, right? And like he was excited, so like it is what it is. So this is an interesting comment, and sorry before I pull it actually up, Peter Cass here, our friend Pete, says, sorry everyone, technical issues have ruled me out of show tonight. Have a good show. You hate to see it, Pete. We'll miss you, buddy. Hopefully we can get you back next week, buddy. But this is an interesting comment, Adam, as well, from Brandon Altman. He says, I really wish you had got a digital copy if you paid for a theater seating. Not sure why that was never offered from theaters. That's a cool idea. I do actually like that. Like if you went to the theater and you could even pay maybe even a few extra bucks, that maybe you get first like codes for digital releases when they come out, maybe like even a day or two before the digital codes go out to the main media or main public, something like that, like make it incentivized. But I like that idea. That's pretty cool. But what's your calculus, Adam? When do you choose to go to a theater versus waiting for streaming?
Yeah, first of all, that is a great idea to incentivize people to come to the theaters. If they're going to pay an extra, let's say $5 more, and they'll own the movie, you know, when it comes out, that's an excellent idea. You know, some of my most nostalgic moments growing up, even to this day, going to see Avengers Endgame, Deadpool and Wolverine, seeing Top Gun Maverick. Those are more recent films, but certainly back in the day with my dad, my friends, going to the theater is just such a part of my core memories. So important to me. Having said that, with the cost of going to movies and, some of the things that Dave mentioned, just dealing with some of the audience members who won't remain silent, just body odor, let's be honest here. Some things that you have to deal with going to a packed movie theater. I would go every week, every other week. New movies out, whether it's a blockbuster or a smaller film, we would go. Now, I'd say we go maybe, depending on the year, maybe 5-6 times a year to a theater. And the calculus for me to go is it's a superhero film, or, well, now they're few and far between, but say a Star Wars film. It's a movie that I don't want to, if I don't see it opening night or opening weekend, I don't want to be spoiled by the online discussion. And it's a genre film like that Ben that you talked about, seeing a Superman on opening night or opening weekend, and you want to hear the sound as much as, I have a 75-inch TV, a good sound system, but you still, it is different seeing it on that bigger screen with the sound in the movie theater. Now a movie like Superman, I saw that twice in the theater. Opening night myself, my wife and daughter were on a Girl Scout trip, so they weren't able to see it with me. So when they got back, we saw it with them again. Fantastic Four in the theater, Thunderbolts in the theater. A movie like Weapons, that was out a month ago in the theater. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's still out. That's a smaller film, and I'm not going to spend my money on that. What I did do, it came out on digital, and I spent the $20 to buy it on Apple Store, and I own it. And I rolled the dice on that because, all right, if the movie's not great, it's still less than the cost of 2 tickets to a movie theater, and I'm not paying the popcorn charges and the soda charges and the candy charges that I would normally spend if I went. I realize you don't have to get that stuff, but you feel like you're not, if you don't get that, you're not as enjoying it as much.
It's part of the experience. Yeah,
it's part of the experience. So a smaller film like Weapons, which I very much enjoyed, excellent movie. I'll wait for that to come out on digital or in streaming.
Sure. So it depends on the experience, depends on the style of movie, the big theater experience, kind of like you said. Because a couple of you guys mentioned here as well, I saw a comment here from Pete Nick says, I've got a 75-inch TV and a Sonos at home. Good luck getting me to pay $50 to go to a theater and sit among the savages again. Love to see it. Yeah, but I mean, the home theater experience now is also getting to be pretty freaking wild. I was seeing yesterday floating around Instagram a new TV that's like 116 inches big, which I think is now like the world's largest television at 116 inches. And I'm like, that's pretty freaking crazy. Now, some of you guys also do the projection screens, right? The HD projection, which is also really, really cool. And I am a bit of a hermit. While I do a YouTube show and all these things, I'm for sure an introverted extrovert. So like I can turn it on when I need to, but once my social battery is gone, I don't want to see fucking anybody. So like there are definitely days where I'm like, as much as I'd love to go to the movies tonight, absolutely no chance I'm going to sit amongst the savages, as Pete Nick would say. But on the other hand, there are definitely times where I'm like, I've got enough battery left that I can go out and have a fun night and see things. It also depends on the experience. Now, Ash Chase mentioned here in the chat, he said, I should hate Endgame more than I love it because of what happened to me. I don't know what happened to you, man. So let us know.
The incident.
Maybe this is it. I lost my car or someone stole it. No doubt the second one. I don't know what he's talking about. Let us know what happened in your incident, buddy. That sounds terrible. You hate to see it. But again, I think for me, it definitely comes down to the theater experience. Just like, is the movie seem like it's going to be worth it for it? Maybe the genre. But guys, let's continue to move on here because we've got lots of figure news today, and I want to make sure we have enough time for everybody. We have over 30 people in the chat, guys. Getting nuts with us. Again, if you don't mind hitting the like button, definitely would be appreciated, as always. I wanted to pop this really up really quickly before we get into 6 scale and before we say hi to everybody, as we always do. McFarlane is coming out with their own Batman Returns line, and like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, yesterday was Batman Day, the 20th of September. So definitely cool to see multiple different companies, toy companies, putting out their Batman stuff, right? And there are some cool ones in here, notably Penguin with his duck car is going up for pre-order. I'm pretty sure the pre-order starts tomorrow, by the way, on Monday. So keep an eye out for McFarlane if you collect the scale. The Penguin definitely looks a little sus in the face, but still a pretty cool thing. This Max Shrek has one of the craziest head sculpts I think I've ever seen. Of course, this being the scene on the right-hand side anyways, where Catwoman sticks a taser in his mouth, and her character actually comes with the taser. So if you want, you can recreate that wild scene, and a nightmare fuel head sculpt here, like freaking crazy. But I was curious. Of course, they've got the Batman and they've got the Catwoman there as well. All look pretty reasonably good in my opinion, especially at that scale. I was curious though, guys. Of course, outside of 1/6 scale, what do you guys collect most? Is there another scale that you go after? For me, I started with Lego minifigures and then jumped right into 1/6 scale. But I now still have over 350 Lego minifigures that I'm still not 100% sure how to display them or what to even do with them. What other scales do you guys collect? Because for me, these are freaking awesome and great representations of the characters, especially if you don't want to commit to 6 scale pricing. Adam, start with you, buddy.
Yeah, well, I started out, when I was a kid and through college, grad school, and after collecting the traditional 3 3/4 inch figures, Star Wars figures, superhero figures, like superpowers, Secret Wars, Transformers, the whole 9 yards. And my basement, I have like the Power of the Force, all the figures that came out during the prequel era. I have a lot of them. All those Hasbro Star Wars toys are packed up in boxes. My work, this is my home office. My work office, I have like 2.5 shelves full of Marvel Legends MCU figures, all based on MCU, and Hasbro Black Series Star Wars, a shelf of Star Wars Black Series. I stopped getting those about 2.5, 3 years ago, and when I started getting Hot Toys, and the reasons, the prices are going up, and I didn't feel like the quality of the material was as good, and just really got really drilled in to the 1/6 zone. Now, every once in a while, I do pick up something. So this is a McFarlane, Superman film figure that I picked up, just kind of waiting for the Hot Toys that I have on my desk here. But other than that, at this point, except for the occasional one-off, I just collect the 1/6 scale.
Sorry, Adam, my mouse has died on me, so I will not be able to navigate there.
Yeah, so I still have a case full of hodgepodge of like the Knight Rider, like 1/64 scale vehicle, and an ET statue and random Transformers, things like that. But by and large, now it's 1/6. But I used to collect everything.
Yeah, it's so hard because there's so many cool things, right? Like I've been collecting all of the McFarlane Batman the Animated Series figures, and they've even come out with like Adventures Continues and some of those other ones, but I'm like, no, just the animated series. But even then, I've already got over 12, at least 12 up above me, and I love those figures because they're great representations. And the 1/6 scale Mondo representations, in my opinion, were just kind of felt like expensive versions of what I already had, if I'm honest. Like I didn't feel like I needed them in 6 scale. But I've got the majority of these characters that are on the screen in 6 scale pre-ordered, right? Like I've got the Jazz Inc. Catwoman coming, I've got the Jazz Inc. Penguin coming. Obviously Max Shrek hasn't been made in 6 scale, at least from my what I know of anyways, maybe a third party. And I've got the Batman Returns figure coming, which I think is slated for a release here kind of any day now, if I'm not mistaken. So really excited for those 3 characters in 6 scale. Don't know if I need them in this one. But even still, like the different scales are attractive. And when you're waiting for 6 scale, sometimes the wait time of 6 scale for me makes me want to buy McFarlane's. Like, for example, I was really hyped after the Superman film, and I wanted to go to Walmart and immediately buy the 1/12 version of Superman, even though I'd already now ordered the Hot Toys and the Inart on pre-order. So I'm like, I probably
That's why I
don't
got
need
this.
a McFarlane, right? But it's still a desk warmer. It's still fun, right? It's still fun to have in hand. Which one do you got?
Yeah, that's why I got that Superman figure and Superman
Yeah.
and Crypto.
Yeah, see, there you go. There you go. Dave, I don't know if I've ever asked you this question, buddy. Obviously, you have some art prints behind you, which is awesome. Your 6 scale stuff is just going wild lately. Like, your display is looking amazing. But what else do you collect? Or, if anything?
Well, like Adam, like probably everybody, you know, you start out with a smattering of everything, right?
Hmm.
I had the original McFarlane toys when they came out. Bet we couldn't when it was Todd Toys before Mattel started being a bunch of
Todd
jerks.
I don't remember that.
I had that, and I had, you know, stuff around that scale, and, you know, the superpowers stuff, of course, and, you know, all the myriad, you know, scalings. And now I got rid of a lot of that stuff. I want to say about 10 years ago at this point.
Oh, wow.
And I hadn't really been collecting until I got back into it with 6 scale in 2022. But I still kept like I have like a scant handful of other scales. Like I have the NECA Ultimate Deadpool, the quarter scale one. I got him back in like 2018. He's fun. And then I have like, you know, little stuff like this little guy. And
It's fun to play with, yeah.
yeah, he just stands on top of my X-Men case, just hanging out. And like, you know, I have like a knockoff SH Figuarts Deadpool that I got a few years ago, and little stuff like that. But just just today, I decided to. I've been weighing a lot, getting more smaller scale figures, and there's been a lot that I've been wanting to get that I've been resisting. And I opened that gate recently. There's that Zootopia set
I don't know
of
what
Judy
that is.
Hopps and the fox. I can't remember his name right now for whatever stupid reason. I can't remember his name. But they're like, you know, they're tiny little guys, but they would fit in well enough with the 6 scale figures. I could, you know, cause some craziness interacting with them. I forget who makes them. They're on Caucus Toys where I bought mine.
Calcus.
But they have different face plates that come off, and they got moving eyes, and they got like
Oh, cool.
they got like soft goods clothing and stuff, and they're pretty friggin' articulated, so you can do a lot with them, and they're really cool looking at them. I've been looking at them for like maybe a few months, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just get them because they're cool, and I'm a fan of Zootopia. But today, just today, I've been sitting on 5K Toys for like a week looking at stuff, and that's a dangerous site to be on, man. So just today, I ordered 4 figures from there. Just to give you a quick like look at my order sheet. I saw this
Holy
little.
shit.
I saw this little. Let me pull this guy up. There was this friggin' goblin guy that I found. Oh, I can't get him up on the thing.
Can't get it
But he's just like a weird, ugly, rude little goblin dude. He's like 5 inches tall. He's got a hand giving up the middle finger, and he's got this like open mouth with the tongue hanging out. And y'all know how much I love the tongues. And
Yeah.
and he's got like he's he's a very NSFW figure, but I really related to his vibe, and I'm like, well, I have to have other figures for him to torture. So I found some other characters on the question's been brought up before. What's your guilty pleasure thing? And I'm like, well, I don't have any. If I like something, I like it, and I just, you know, I'm unapologetic about it. But this kind of feels like a guilty pleasure almost, because they got a lot of those anime figures. You
What was it
know,
called, Adam? Or sorry, Dave. What was it called?
Caucus, KOW. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 5K Toys. 5K Toys is the website. I've seen them a lot through other figure channels like Mad Hatter and Nostalgia Unboxed and display model behavior. A lot of those guys,
I've
because
never
they do
even
like a lot
heard
of
5Ks. 5K
yeah, they do a lot of
before.
12 scale stuff. So that's what they have on there, and yeah, there's a little green goblin dude that he's a randy little guy, but
He's a randy little guy.
yeah.
Oh, biker mice. Those are cool. I
They
used to
do have
love
biker mice from
back in the
Mars
day.
on sale there. I don't know if it's a full set or what.
That's dope.
But what is the name of that goblin? I've got him up here. It's
Some crazy stuff on here.
Moshi Can. If you type in goblin, you're gonna see him. But he's a nasty little guy,
He's a nasty little
and I just love him. I just love him. Yeah, right
one
to the
here?
first one. Not those. No,
You guys
not
still-
those.
Not this one?
The very first one. Yeah.
This one here.
No, if you go back to the
Oh,
previous screen.
sorry. This one here.
that guy, yeah,
Look at this
He's-
guy.
he's got a little naked bit going on, but yeah, I don't know why this little rapscallion just immediately captured my
Gotcha.
heart. Yeah,
I think it's crazy. Look at this guy.
Oh,
Wild.
jeez. Wow.
His ball peg's hanging out. I hate to see it.
yeah, he's a very wild rock star little dude.
That thing's crazy, dude. That's awesome.
He's,
That's awesome.
he's gonna terrorize some of my 6 scale figures, and he's gonna have his own little group to hang out with. But yeah, I couldn't resist it, man. I had to get that little dude.
Hell yeah. Pete Nick saying here, Crab Figure 5K Toys just put up the really cool looking Bloodborne 1/6. I love Bloodborne. That was a freaking hard game. What are you gonna say, Adam?
Yeah, just one thing I was thinking. One of the reasons why not the only reason, but one reason why I shifted away, by and large, from collecting anything outside the 1/6 line is, for years we used to go on. My wife and I, she sometimes liked going. My daughter would go, particularly when Toys R Us was open. My wife used to collect Barbies, and we'd go on what we call them toy runs, and it was fun. You'd go to Target, you go to Walmart, you'd see if they have exclusives, and then gas prices start to go up, and you go and particularly for me with Star Wars and Marvel Legends, they would short pack the figures, and you'd have a million of one figure that no one would, the peg warmers that no one would buy, and you're trying to find the ones you wanted, and it was getting to be impossible because unless you went when they got their shipments in, you're not going to get them. So the scalpers got them, and then you're paying through the nose to get them. And when you couple them with gas prices, and you're driving all around to every Walmart, every Target near where you live, and you're still not seeing what you want, and then you're hearing online reports, well, if you're going out to Missouri, they have plenty of them out there. So the distribution of the figures became an issue. Gas prices, and if the final straw for me was like I was trying to get this Captain America Endgame that was a Walmart exclusive with the broken shield and Mjolnir, and I never once saw it at a Walmart. I went to probably 30 different Walmarts in New York and Massachusetts, Vermont, nowhere. Finally, just I paid the $90 and got it on eBay, but I'm paying that kind of money. I might as well just get the Hot Toys, and that's kind of so. Ever since then, I've basically been done with. By and large, I pick up the Superman once in a while, something to play with on your desk, but and then you get the million repaints you get. Now I know Hot Toys is doing that too a bit, but
Never going to talk about that.
they're
today
going
either.
that way.
Yep. You're not
Yeah,
wrong.
but a
dude. You're not
$20
wrong.
repaint versus like a $300 repaint. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's quite
Yeah,
a
it's
difference.
that's a
That's
repaint.
quite the difference. That's quite the difference. I mean, I get what you're saying, especially with regards to driving around and stuff like that too. It definitely adds up. I do think the toy hunt aspect of it is still really fun overall,
It is.
especially when you do hit that, you hit that dopamine hit of actually finding one that you are looking for. That's pretty sweet. Sometimes it's the opposite for me. I'll always go into a toy store if it's close by, and then I'll see something that I didn't know was coming, and now I need it, and I'm like, damn it, I didn't plan for this, you know, like, but I don't want to not get it today, because what if I come back in a week and they're all gone, and right, so that can be tricky as well. Sometimes it's like asking a question you don't want to know the answer to. Blurred Dad Life, being a channel member for 19 months, dude. Thank you so much for being with us for so long in the Classy Nut crew. We definitely appreciate you, good sir. He says, did anyone have the Disney Infinity Games figures? I didn't. Adam, you were saying here that you had those. I used to play with Emily. That's pretty cool. I
Yeah,
have not
with those for
seen
Xbox.
those ones. Keith Lee started with Lego, it looks like, or still has Lego. I went to the Lego store again the other day because I was thinking about getting the Krusty Burger to go along with my my Simpsons house, and make kind of like a Lego Simpsons display out of part of my TV cabinet out in the living room. But man, it's like $250 Canadian, which is a ton, it feels like. And I've also had my eye on the Deku tree set, the Zelda Ocarina of Time representation. It's a 2-in-1 set, so you can do a Breath of the Wild tree or the Ocarina of Time. But if you do the Ocarina of Time, which would be the one that I would choose, apparently there's like 15 bags of unused Lego still in the box as a result. And that set, I think, was like $400 and something, like $450 or something wild. Lego is pricing me out these days, guys. I'm like, I just can't even do it anymore. I did see the Black Pearl set, or the Jack Sparrow ship, I think is what they called it. Odd. In the window, and that thing looked freaking awesome. But again, going to be way too expensive.
Death Star is what, $1,000?
That's the first set over $1,000, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And for Canadian dollars, when I saw the price tag, I think it was like $13.89 or something like that. So, which is freaking insane. Do you guys collect Lego at all, or have you ever?
Yeah, I have some minifigures. I got this Superman, Deadpool, Wolverine. I have a few minifigures. I actually put them next to some of the Hot Toys.
Absolutely. Sterling Fine Art says, I have the same chair, Ben. Good taste. Hell yeah. The Batman chair. You love to see it. Batman Day, Batman chair. It's all good. Guys, let's move on. I want to get into some 6-scale news here. But as always, of course, we definitely want to say hi to our chat here. Just a reminder, if you are considering becoming a channel member, I have pinned the channel member link in the comments. So feel free to become one of us, one of the Classy Nuts. If you really want to get spicy and crazy, you can sign up for Nut Kings. Now, those stickers went out last week, so I haven't heard from anybody that they've got them yet. So let me know when you guys start getting your stickers in the Let's Get Nuts envelopes. They're a black envelope with a Let's Get Nuts symbol on the outside, so they're nice and easy to spot, hopefully, in your mailbox. So when you guys get them, let me know. But again, if you become a Nut King, of course, you can get your stickers alongside your membership. If not, all good. We just want to have you here and having fun with us. I would love to be able to read your names at the end of the show, though, and see all those channel members. For anybody who's a channel member in the chat, if you guys are here, please throw some emojis in the chat to show people what they are missing out on by not being part of the Classy Nut crew. But guys, with all of that said, let's say hi to our chat members.
Is that everyone? I keep wanting more.
Nuts!
Assemble.
Nuts assemble. Good to see you guys. We have 46 people watching live. Who's here with us? We got Valkyrie, Magnus, Mr. Eric saying he wasn't feeling good today, but hopefully you're feeling a little bit better by the end of the day, buddy. He says, have a great show today. Love you, man. Thanks for being here as always. Mr. Ronnie, once again, shout out for those gifted channel memberships 2 weeks ago, dude. Definitely appreciate it. We got Jagron2 here, says, you are always nuts, Mr. Ben. Absolutely, you're not wrong. We got Dighouse. Sorry if I butchered that. He says, yo, what's up, man? Good to see you here. We got Sterling's Fine Art. What's happening, everybody? Happy Sunday. We got Coors 2K with a hello, everyone. Good to see you, man. Awesome photo you got there. We got Mr. Doguito. Says, hey, what's up, everybody? Good to see you here, buddy. As always, Ash Chase, Plastic Crackhead. Sounds like he lost his car during the night he watched Endgame. So that would be a diminishing experience.
Terrible.
You're not wrong. 12-inch Moose Stream, one of our longest channel members here as well, and good buddy, says, hello, community of collectors. I received Duke Luke, another Batfleck 2.0, another one, oh my goodness, and an endoskeleton from T5. Man, endoskeleton would be sweet. Still waiting on Kidpool. Battle Damage Darth Vader has shipped. I still want to see your collection room, Mr.
Yeah.
Mr. Moose. You got to send us some photos and we'll share them for you, buddy. Because you have to have one of the biggest collections out there now of collectors. I would love to see more. But we got Lightwing here. He says, "Hi, Dad." Oh God,
That's Emily.
I did not realize I had a child out there. Okay, oh my God.
Yeah, it's Emily.
I forgot. Emily, you're the best. You scared the hell out of me, okay? You hate to see it. We got Keith Lee here in the chat. It says, "Happy Sunday,
funny.
folks. Good to see you. Glad I could make the stream. Hell yeah. Emily, you are certainly invited on with your dad anytime you'd like to join. So if there's ever a Sunday where you can pop on with us to learn a little bit, always welcome to have you here. We got Jose Plus in the chat with us as well. Mr. Jose Plus. Good to see you, buddy. King Dingling says, "What's up, guys? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here as always." Again, Valkyrie, thank you for the $1.99 super chat, buddy. That's very generous. Really, really appreciate you, buddy. We got Blurred Dad Life in the chat. We got Mr. Jim Collector. Love to see it. Good evening, everyone. Good to see you, buddy. Can't wait to get you and Vita back here pretty soon, as always. We got Tijuana Mike, aka King Churro, in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. One of our channel members, of course, as well. Let's see here. Who else? Thanks for bearing with me, guys, while I say hi to everybody. Really appreciate it. We got Vita, aka her geeky side here. Good evening, everyone. Good to see you, my friend, as always. Glad you're here. Let's see. Pete Nick, we already said hi, but we will say hi one more time. Last movie I saw in theaters was The Joker. Joker 1 or Joker 2? Because that's a very long time if it's Joker 1. Peter Cass, we miss you, buddy. Wish you could have made it on the show tonight, but we'll be hopefully getting you back here pretty soon. We got Leon S. Kennedy. Makes sense. Still, let's sanction the bad ones. No idea what he's talking about, but I hope you're having a good day. Thanks for being here. As always, we got Keith Lee. Just bought an 86-incher. That is wild, dude. My TV is 60 inches, and no, my TV is 70 inches, sorry. And that is a pretty freaking big screen, so I can't even, 16 inches larger. Can't even imagine.
I didn't realize he was talking about TV for a moment there.
Well, I mean, it is
I was
called
like,
Let's Get
what?
Nuts, so you never really know. I should have clarified, I guess, before I was so impressed. We got the movie canon Geo with us. He says, what the heck?
Collectionistas.
Collectionistas. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here as always, Mr. Geo. Do you guys have your show still on Friday night with Geo on the movie canon?
Yes.
Yep. Still rocking? Cool.
Oh,
Make
yeah.
sure on Friday nights, if you guys have nothing to do, you're just hanging out, you're wishing you could you wish you could be watching a badass cool stream. Movie canon, Mr. Geo. We got Sonic A in the chat with us, throwing in some emojis. Good to see you here. Turquoise looking up. No idea what that means, but I'm happy to have you here. Either way, we got Yomo in the chat. Yo, what's up, everyone? Good to see you, buddy. Always happy to have you here. We got Richard Cow in the chat with us as well. Hands yellow, heart and red. You love to see it. We got Gary's Grails here with us. Good afternoon, folks. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here, as always. Let's see. I think that's almost everybody, guys. It is. That's everybody. Let's move on to the news. Oh, wait. Ashley says, I plan on buying 2 Deadpool figures this week. Am I nuts? No, I am insane. Which Deadpool figures? Are you going to get the battle damage and the clean, or 2 of the same? Let us know, buddy. But yeah, let's move on to some 6-scale stuff. I skipped last Sunday, so this is slightly older news at this point, but we haven't really had a chance to actually talk about it yet, boys. So I was curious what you guys were thinking with regards to Terminator 2, Judgment Day, of course, the T-800 battle damaged representation. I've got this thing paid off, so I'm very, very excited. Now, I bought through Sideshow, so a lot of folks already have this in hand if they bought it overseas, and I've already seen reviews going up, which is pretty crazy. Of course, I'm still waiting on Sideshow to get mine out the door. Same with that Wolverine, the yellow suited Wolverine. I was kind of hoping I'd get the notification on that like a week ago, and still no such luck. So, but either way, waiting on this guy, couldn't wait. Now, I never did have the 1.0 representation, so I was one of those collectors that was very, very happy when a 2.0 was announced, because it gave us an opportunity to buy it again. Obviously, the DX13, though, the original one, the 1.0, was probably known as one of the best Hot Toys figures I think that's existed. It set a really high bar right out of the gate. And from everything I've seen, especially with some direct comparison shots, I don't actually think that there's a huge improvement in the likeness of the sculpt even some of the battle damage work, I think looks still pretty damn good on the first one. I think if you have that original, maybe the only incentive to switch up would be the leather jacket, like the leather accessory pieces. But otherwise, I think it's no slouch. And I actually had that same feeling about the T1000. You guys, if you watched my review on the T1000, while I liked the figure and I'm happy to have it, there was definitely some aspects of that figure that still felt kind of older generation and cheaper, and I wish had been upgraded, that didn't get the 2.0 treatment, in my opinion. And if you had the 1.0, I think a lot of people were just as happy with that. So far for me, the Terminator Judgment Day line is awesome. But if you have the originals, did you need it? So I was curious, Adam, what are your thoughts here on the Terminator now that people are getting it in hand? Reviews are going out. We're seeing some close-ups from places like Figure Hideout, Justin's Collection, some of that. What'd you think of the final release of this one?
Yeah, I think they did a really nice job with the 2.0. If I actually bought Graham Jedi Knight's watches, DX13, and
you did, eh?
I got it around Christmas time this past year, and I'm very happy with that. It's in excellent condition, and I'll tell you, I'm glad I did. Because I got a good price on a very well maintained figure, and seeing Justin's video with the head sculpt comparison, I think the original one is slightly better.
Interesting.
Now, of course,
Okay.
the new one you do have all the bases. It's a bigger base than the original one. So you want to make sure you have space for that, but it's a better base. If you're going to get this new one, you're going to be happy. But I think if you have the DX13, it's up to you. If you feel like you need to have the most up to date, I'm not sure there's necessarily a reason to upgrade. If your DX13 is still in good condition, I think this is an opportunity for you to save some money. But unless you want to do you want to have two different poses like you're seeing right here, then I could see the reason to get both of them. And you're a super Terminator fan, just like I got the T1000 and I got the clean. I got a good deal on the T1000 1.0 and the quote unquote clean Terminator. I got as a deal on eBay for $400 for both, around the same time, and I'm happy with those. So I think sometimes, some of these 2.0s are really great and a significant upgrade. Like I think the Ben Affleck Batfleck 2.0 is an upgrade from the 1.0.
Definitely.
But other times, I think you could be happy if you get a good deal on a well-maintained 1.0. In the secondary market, you may want to look at that.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, well said. And thanks for bringing up Justin's Collection. Shout out to Justin for his reviews. It gives us the opportunity to take a closer look here as well. Keith Lee says, seeing the V1 of T1000, it's a noticeable upgrade from the V2. Maybe for those who have the V1 displayed with the helmet and sunglasses, police coat, then maybe not worth the upgrade. I do think that the likeness, the portrait, 100% was a huge upgrade on the T1000. It still felt like an old figure body underneath. There were still some challenges I had with the magnetic pieces, like the bullet damage. I didn't love just the small section of body you could stick those to. The outfit, that figure gives you an entirely second outfit: shoes, pants, coat. Really the only thing you're missing is a police outfit, like a police shirt. I would have loved for them to just include a second body, if I'm honest, so that we could display both looks without having to go through the painstaking process of undressing a figure to redress him in different outfit. I will never do that again. I did it for a portion of the video that I did my review on, and I hated it. I almost burst the jacket, with the zipper. It was a lot. If I would have paid even an extra $50 on that figure just for an extra body thrown in, I still will just go aftermarket and buy a second body with a shirt and call it a day, I think. But there was definitely an upgrade here. I agree with you though, Adam. This likeness difference doesn't actually seem that extreme. Still awesome to have the opportunity to have it, and again with some leather options in there as well. But Jim Collector says, I prefer the new sculpt, but honestly I think the perfect sculpt lies somewhere between the DX13 and the DX46. Pretty crazy there. Batflex Pelota says, I really don't believe collectors when they say they're happy with a 1.0 version when it's outdated and very inferior compared to a 2.0. That's an interesting thought. So for me, I think when we're in the YouTube sphere, when we're talking to friends who are also collectors, right? I get this feeling of fear of missing out sometimes when the newest option comes out and I look at the one that I have and go, you know what? Like I know there's one that's better that exists out there. But it's usually, I feel like, almost community pressure and like the expectation of myself to try and have the best representation of my collection that drives me to buy that next figure. But there have definitely been some figures on my display where even though there's a better version that exists, I still absolutely love the figure. And if it's not a character that I feel like I want to buy over and over and over again, I still can talk myself out of it most of the time, especially with the amount of figures that come out every single year. If I can avoid spending $300 or $400 to rebuy a figure that I already have on display, then I'll try to do that if I can, because at the end of the day, even my friends who are collectors, like you guys out here watching, or my buddies here on the panel, it's not like you guys get to come over to my display and go, oh Ben, you know what, man, I love your display, but if you hadn't, if you upgraded that one figure, it would take it to a whole new level. Like, nobody knows but me. Nobody knows about me. I'm like the only one that ever comes in here. So I think, I can appreciate that, but I like to not believe people when they say that they're okay with the 1.0. I don't feel that. There is definitely 1.0s that I'm really happy with, that I would stick with and not buy. Adam, just curious before we go to Dave, how do you feel about that? Do you believe collectors when they say they're happy with their 1.0?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm one of them. I'm not just a client, but I'm the hair club president. I don't know if you know that ad. Listen, I'm a firm believer in the phrase "good enough for government service," and most of the figures, I'm sitting on my chair and I'm looking, 5, 4, 5, 6 feet away, unless I'm going up to it, once a week, however often, to clean the shelf, dust, whatever. I'm not seeing it up close and personal that often. So I want something that's a good representation. That's, what I feel is a high quality representation of the figure, of the character that I like. And if I can save a few bucks, that's my top priority. Save a few bucks on something that looks good, that hits the nostalgia button. And I don't, as long as the 1.0 that I get, if I get it off, I buy from someone that I know, or it's on eBay, as long as it's well cared for and decent shape, I'm fine with that. I don't care.
That's fair. Because even like I have the Netflix Daredevil. I love that figure. I haven't got the yellow and red mustard suit, even though that's technically the upgraded variant of that figure. Bit of a different outfit, but still. The Punisher, I still love the John Bernthal. I call him Jeremy Benthal, for those who know, but the Jeremy Benthal Punisher, I've got him. And he's a great 1.0. I don't think I'd be tempted to upgrade him. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it depends on my love for the character. Because then there's figures like the Joker, who every representation they come out with, I seem to buy. Keep updating it. Now I'm going the custom route, right? We talked about that on Monday. So, X-Men, tell me what your thoughts here are on the Battle Damage 2.0 at T800. Have you thought it was a big enough upgrade for people to swap out of their 1.0s?
There's just so much that goes into consideration, isn't there? Because you do have, on your one hand, the close enough for government. I've used that phrase too much professionally to go by that, but I appreciate it. Man, that brought back so many memories. Oh goodness, I'm glad I wasn't a helicopter tech. All right, so I can see the argument for everything, right? Because when you got the 1.0, it was good at the time, or you wouldn't have bought it, right? And there's no reason that it can't still be good for you. In cases like this, where maybe the 1.0, in a lot of cases, you see that the materials don't quite hold up, I would say probably go ahead and get the new one. But also, if it has been well maintained, and you can maintain it well, or you can upgrade the materials on it for a lesser cost, which my understanding is you can for this, then yeah, go for it. Because this wasn't such an upgrade, I think, that you need to swap out. Like I am one of those guys that's like, I can't. if I'm looking at a purchase and there is a definitively best version out there at the time of purchase, I will know it exists and I will not be as happy with the other one if I buy it. So, I mean, that's why I have the Jazz Inc. Batmobile, the 89, because I want it to be properly scaled. That's always been a big complaint of mine is scaling. And I know that too with a lot of the older figures, you know, they've always been 6 scale, but for some reason now they're bigger because I don't know. I guess we're taller now as people in the last 40 years.
Fair.
Somehow or other, we hit that weird little that line skip into a new reality where it's the Berenstein Bears and oh no, Arnold was actually 7 feet
effect.
tall. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I think if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for you. You don't have to jump to the next big thing if you like what you have. But there are reasons that, you know, you could want to do it. And I do think that, like who's it said, a lot of people that have the 1.0 of a figure will say that it's better or as good as, maybe. And I think that, you know, psychology is a fickle thing. So yeah, there's a lot of, I'm sure, people who will be like, well, mine's great, but secretly they're like, I wish I had the good one, you know. And I'm sure that happens. I do believe that sometimes when I hear someone like when they say the 1.0 Heath Ledger Joker is good enough versus everything we've got now, I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind, dude. Mm-hmm. But and I've heard someone say that, and I'm like, I don't think you believe that. But you know, it's a spectrum of collectors. You can have everything, and that's the great thing about it is you can have the lesser one. Maybe it means something because of when it came out, or you know, the fact that it was the first one. You know, that's valid. Or you can have all of them, like some of us crazies, and have every single iteration of a character, even if it's the same costume. Like some people have multiple Heath Ledger Jokers, and they're all the same costume.
Yeah,
they're all the exact same costume. But you've got like this figure, then you've got this figure, and you can compare them and contrast. And you know, some people like that, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, you know, it's just do what you do. It's all subjective.
So when somebody asks you how many Wolverines you need, your retort question is, how many purple-coated Jokers do you have?
Right.
And depending on their answer, you know if you're going to win this argument or not. Keith Lee says the DX46 wins over the DX13 with the leather pants plus coat, gas canister launcher, and the diorama base. The DX13 wins with the art box and the T1000 statue accessory. Yeah, the T1000 statue accessory, that's freaking cool. So good value in both. That was something that really pissed me off about the Peacemaker figure, that 2.0 that came out, that gave you basically everything that you got with the first version, plus a few accessories and a head sculpt. It like completely just gutted any old value out of that first release. Like at the very least, I think they should have left the tongue accessory with the first option and not given it to us in the second, or something to create some level of, you know, difference between them. Like they did with this. And, you know, Moose made a good point as well, because I'd forgotten that Present Toys had made their own T1000 or T800, I should say, as well. And a lot of people went in on those Present Toys T800s. He says, when it looked bad, I got the Present Toys T1000 months ago before the 2.0 was ever mentioned. Then after I pre-ordered it, I found the 1.0 for cheap. Now I have 3 T1000s to play with. Which is pretty wild. So, and again, at least the cool thing about the T1000 is you can give him the transformation look, or you can give him kind of the regular cop look, right? Like you can make him look different and justify having multiples potentially. Yeah, that finger. Now, man, I don't know if you saw my review, but the hand sculpts on that 2.0 are still wildly large, though. It looks like he's been stung by a bee in the hand region. You hate to see it. So, Vita says to you here, X-Men, she says, I just saw your post about new Oreo cookies. Tell us about these Oreo cookies. What happened? I was
in a gas station like a week ago, and I saw on one of the end caps, it was a Reese's Oreo smash up, right? But it was the Reese's peanut butter in the Oreo cookie bits, and I was like, my immediate thought was, some jackass said, let's take the worst parts of both of these and put them together. There you go. And I was immediately just terribly offended as a fat boy. I was like, no. Give me the chocolate and the cream, man. Come on, dude. And I had to take the social media with my ire and scream against the void. It was awful, man. I was like, you guys, what are y'all doing?
That sounds pretty awful. You hate to see it. Thanks
It's
for
probably
thanks for
not bad. It's probably not bad, but like, there's better parts of both of those cookies. Come on.
1,000%. 1,000%. Figurecraft here, Mr. Philly. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Says before they move on to the next Terminator film, we need an artisan, Sarah Connor, John Connor, 2-pack releases.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yes. Big Rip in the chat says, I'm not excited for the 2.0 Terminator figures. I don't have any, but going to hold off on T1000 for cheap or deal after your review, Ben. So yeah, I will. I'm glad that could help. I know for a few of you out there, somebody left me a really funny comment yesterday that was like something along the lines of, thanks for not sucking the teat of Sideshow and over bloating your thoughts on a T1000 like you sell the product for a living and all this. He was happy with my honest review, but the way that he said thank you for it was like, damn, clearly he does not like being sold figures in reviews by any stretch. I'm glad I was honest. So need to see it. Also, a really quick shout out to Figurecraft. I didn't ask him permission to show this, but for Batman, I saw that Philly did post something really cool. I'm just going to share it really quickly. Philly posted these, Mr. Figurecraft. If you don't follow Figurecraft on YouTube, please, for the love of God, go over and follow him after the show. This man needs some love. He's been working on his Batman diorama sets. And some of these photos I'll quickly go through just so you guys can see them. He showed us this turning base last week when he was here, 2 weeks ago when he was here. Looks
so jealous
amazing.
of this guy's face.
Look at this setup with the Riddler costume and the red hood. And he was showing us that red hood helmet. It's literally just the Magneto helmet turned around to create this display. Like, that is crazy. Back computer section here.
Jesus.
Wow.
Oh man.
Why even try? Jesus,
dude.
A testament to how awesome this looks.
Yeah.
Eddie Muddy Mendez did a tour of WB.
I saw
yesterday or the day before. I saw on Instagram, and he posted photos from the actual set tours and props and all that. And this looks like 1-to-1 real life size. This looks like set photos from Eddie's tour, not a 1/6 scale.
100%, dude. And he's got the coin in there, the dinosaur in there. Like, this is freaking insane. Insane, dude. Philly, if you're still in the chat with us, can you put your Instagram handle in the chat as well, and I'll pull it up so that people know where to find you for this kind of stuff? Because I know Philly's working on a video right now that's going to showcase this a little bit. This is just his tease to get people excited for the tour. So stay tuned, follow him, because man, I'm excited to see this a little bit more in depth. But these look amazing, dude.
Well, look at the cave work in the background of all of these. Yeah. That's the impressive bit to me, is like, because I had an idea. I was thinking about doing something similar in my case here that I have, and I was just thinking about making cave walls and how much that would suck. And this looks so friggin' good. Like, come on, dude. Why? Everybody go home. We're done here. Everybody go home. Jesus, look at that.
So good.
That's insane.
Great use of that sculpt, dude.
Yeah.
That is so good.
That's brave getting him in this seating position too. That is brave.
And that's not even the Batfleck setup. He's got a little bit of everything going on there. It's crazy. That's so good.
These are crazy. That's it. That's all of them. I wanted to show you guys that because I thought that was amazing. So Philly, amazing job, dude. Really, really good job. Thanks for being cool with me showing that on the show here. Go over, follow Philly Figurecraft YouTube. Again, Philly, if you don't mind putting both of your links in the chat here, and I'll put it up on the screen so people know where to find you, buddy. But freaking amazing, dude. Freaking amazing. Any final thoughts, guys, though, on the T800 battle damage before we move on? Well, we've covered them all. You'll love to see it. Let's move on then with Batman Day. So Toys, or Susu Toys, I guess, depending on how you read it, has put up. Yeah, so slow toys. I'm still waiting on some of the Flash figures. I'm waiting on the reverse Flash figure that I feel like is never actually going to come. But they're making 300 pieces of the Crime Detective, essentially the Batman animated series variant of Batman here. And honestly, little too late, in my opinion. Obviously we've had Mondo go up. Mondo has all the joints though, so if you don't like Mondo, you might have then shifted and got the S-Hero version. And if you didn't shift and get the S-Hero version because maybe you heard that Jazz Inc. was making his own animated style body or figure, like realistic looking body, depending on what look you look for, you could get either of those as well. I ended up going in on the Jazz Inc. Batman animated series body, like the animated variant body. Really excited. I've had the Mondo toy in the past, and I sold them because I just didn't love the look of the joints at that scale, despite my love for joints, of course. But this, for me, even though there's only 300 that exist, and we all like to be collectors that have a little piece of our collection that maybe not everybody has, I think this is too late. But in terms of the figure itself, objectively, doesn't look terrible. I always liked Batman having a little bit more blue in there. Now, it does look like he's got a blue lining in the cape at the very least, so you see a little bit more. I can't remember who I was watching the other day. I think it was Dean, actually, talking about, he was like, no, look how big this is. Like, this is the holy shit, it's huge face.
It was this big.
Big, right? Fucking Dean, man. Dean is so funny. It doesn't look bad. Look at the bottom lip on this one here. Like, that's a wild bottom lip. But yeah, this is a skip for me. Even if I didn't already have the other ones in play, I think I would skip on trying to get one of 300, especially with So-So. They've been so slow. But what do you guys think, Dave? I'll start with you, buddy. Same kind of feeling, or is this something you're going to try and chase down?
I feel like there have been a handful of 6-scale animated Batman offerings. The first one I saw was that one that dude was trying to like get $800 for, and that's a big fat fucking no. But they all have a very similar idea with the accessories. A couple of different heads, several mouth plates. I think they all have the gas mask, which they should, rebreather, whatever you want to call it. You got the grapple, you got the Batman staples and all the hands and everything. And sometimes you have the option between the blue or the black lining of the cape. I think they're all okay overall. I was waiting to see what Jazz Inc. was doing, and I don't think that theirs is bad, but I don't think anyone's really nailed it. No one's really nailed it with the animated Batman, and animated Batman is far and away my favorite adaptation of Batman outside of the comics. And the Kevin Conroy, was I can't read anything that Batman's saying and not hear his voice when I do. He was just fantastic with it. And for me, animated Batman has to be my ideal version. And I have opted to wait and see what Mondo does later on, because we know that they do 2.0s. They did recently with their 2 Wolverines, because that whole line outside of those first 2 figures, which were, the yellow and brown suits, Alex Brewer didn't sculpt those, but he's done everything else. And they look so different, and these new ones look so much better. And he finally did the Wolverines, and they look great. And it's the same thing with the Batman line. Alex Brewer came in and did everything except for that first Batman and Joker. And the Joker doesn't look terrible. He's still serviceable, I think. But I was never a fan of that first Mondo Batman. I don't mind the joints. The body doesn't look right. It's not shaped right. It's a hard style to translate to figure form because of just the way that it is. But they do so well with the rest of their figures in that line. And I went ahead and bought Robin because I love that figure. The cape
Hell yeah.
options and everything, he looks great. And I know they're doing Batgirl, so I'm going to get her. I decided at that point, well, I'm going to expect that they're going to do a 2.0 of Batman, and Alex Brewer is going to do that. And when that happens, I'll get that. And if it doesn't happen, which I doubt, because I really do believe, based off of everything I've seen from them, that they will. I really do believe that they will. But if they don't, then okay, I still have some cool figures of Robin and Batgirl, who I also love. So that's all right too. But I really believe they're going to do a new one. And I think it's going to be the best animated Batman on the market when it happens.
That'd be big praise. I'd be curious to see that, man. That would be a great theory. I think for me, I like seeing competition. I like competition driving each other to get better and better and better. And it's one of the reasons that I really appreciated at least Jazz Inc.'s approach, because, you know, he put out a lot of options, like photos of what he was thinking about at first, and kind of got the community feedback, which, I mean, the community feedback can sometimes be like a very slippery, dangerous slope, in my opinion, because once you open the door for feedback, how do you close the door once you're like, okay, that's enough feedback now, like, thank you very much, right? On the other hand, it gave us the opportunity to say, no, the realistic body looks weird if you're an animated style body lover, or vice versa. Maybe you don't like the animated style body, it's not going to go with the rest of your collection, so you can go the realistic type body. Like, he gave us some options, which I appreciated, but that competition of other options in the market also helped drive that decision. I'm sure of it. 12-inch Moose Dream with a member chat for 20 months. Dude, 20 months, almost 2 years. That's wild, dude. Thank you so much. He said, I've got thousands of AFSs in all scales, almost most of them in storage, but I'm feeling that that you have to have 2B. Sorry, let me try to read this again. My apologies. It says, I've got thousands of do you know what AFS stands for? I'm not
Action figures.
Action figures. Okay. I've got thousands of action figures in all scales, most in storage, but I'm feeling that you have to be clairvoyant to figure out what to buy. MSRP mantra, never pay retail. Dude, thank you so much, A, for the reminder that popped up, because the chat's going wild. So sorry I almost missed it there, but also, hell yeah. If you cannot pay retail, that was a very, very freaking good call. You guys mentioned NECA, actually, when we were talking about the action figures, and I've got the NECA Ninja Turtles from the 90s film. Those things are amazing at that scale.
They're good.
Like, honestly amazing, dude. I freaking love them. So, X-Men Supreme with a 17-month chat, dropping in some emojis as well, dude. Thanks for being a member for so long, man. I appreciate it.
That's a long damn time.
I feel like you remember before we were even buddies, which I really appreciate. So,
might be.
Really appreciate it.
Might
pretty
be,
close,
yeah.
Anyways, pretty darn close. Pete Nick says, I collected every one of the Mondo Batman animated series line.
I'm jealous.
They're great. They are great figures.
I want that Harley.
I did love them. The Harley is freaking.
I gotta get that deluxe Harley, because I want
Freeze the Mr. Freeze was also good. Like, dude, they're all great. If I just didn't own them already in 1/12 scale, I think that's the biggest thing, was that they felt just scaled up for what I already have. But
I think that you're probably good, because here's the thing: if you get one of the current Mondo Batman figures in hand, you're gonna be cooked, because you're gonna want the rest of them. Like they are definitely more than the larger versions of the smaller figures. The when you look at the paint details, when you look at the even just the tactile feel of the material, it's it's hard to put into words sometimes how good these figures are when you have them in front of you. And it will definitely, don't buy one, because if you're good with the smaller ones, save yourself the space and the money, because you're gonna immediately want to replace every single one of them with the Mondo ones. It's you're better off.
1000%. Adam, before I go to you on Batman here, we got a question here from Eclectic Collector. It says, Ben, are you getting the Lego Enterprise? The answer is 1000% yes. That will be one that I will come up with the money for, especially if it looks cool. I just recently rebought the Playmates version of the Enterprise, the 2023 version. The craziest thing was that I've added a ton of paint applications. There was no paint on any of the bottom section here. None of the windows were painted. It was like completely just plastic. Same with underneath the figure base here, and like sections in here. Also, all of the windows on top, there were no white windows anywhere, so I painted all those. So it's been kind of a fun painting project, but hell yeah. Enterprise D, is absolutely my favorite. If Lego comes out with an Enterprise D, there's no chance, that I'm not going to buy that fucker. So, Adam, what do you think about Batman here from Susu Toys or So Toys? 300 limited pieces.
You know, I think if you're going to go the Batman animated series route, you probably are better off going Mondo or the Jazz Inc., particularly the Jazz Inc. route, if you don't want the joints. I don't have any So Toys, so I can't speak with what having one of those in hand is like. But I'm just hearing a lot of stories about wait times and people not getting their merchandise. They've been waiting a long time. That has given me enough pause that I would be concerned about putting any money down for a pre-order on one of their figures right now until they start delivering products.
It's true. The only reason I got Patch is because he was immediate release. I saw people getting them. Because if he wasn't immediate release, I would have waited, because I swear I'm waiting on Hot Toys to do it. I bet they do it.
Mm-hmm. I bet they do it too. I'd be shocked if they didn't. It seems like easy money for them, if I'm honest. No, well said. DeGuido says, Ben bringing out the D. Looks good. Is that weird? No, man. It's definitely awesome. Check this bad boy out. Love to see it. And Mr. Valkyrie Magnus with a $4.99 super chat. It does actually come apart, and it's got a docking mechanism sound when you take it on or off, depending on the experience. So, oops, didn't line it up well there. You hate to
it separates in the show or movies or what?
Yeah, in the show. Yeah, it's saucer.
Okay.
Its saucer section comes apart. Very, very cool. Very, very cool toy. But $4.99 super chat, dude. Thank you so much. I now owe you at least a thank you. Maybe I'll give you one of these. A BAM.
Bam! Peanut butter and jam!
Bam, buddy. Thanks so much for the super chats as always, man. Definitely appreciate your generosity there as always. He says, I'll have to get that. That's awesome. Dude, it was like, I think it would be about $40 American, somewhere in that range. It was like $70 Canadian. But I spent 3 days painting it, which I am not good at painting, but it turned out pretty good. So this is a skip for us. I think, Adam, you had probably the best advice. Let's see some of these other So toys actually coming to fruition. I think before I at least recommend people buying them, because while it doesn't sound like they're going out of business, how do we know? And if they just suddenly kind of disappeared from the map, where does all that money go? And not to scare anybody, but it's definitely a factor, definitely something to consider. So well said. In theme with the Batman Day, though, we got another, I want to call it a 2.0, but it's not really. It's essentially a different variant of the XE suit from the Batman Origins game. Now, this is called the Hellbat suit, and while I would say, man, do the photos of this thing look crazy good, it also went up for blogger photos pretty much immediately. So people are already getting this in their collections, depending on if they went with it, especially if they got it from overseas. This does look really, really cool. Got a couple collectors out there, including our man Valkyrie, who pre-ordered, not realizing necessarily that it wasn't that vastly different from the XE suit from the original version. Definitely some repainted portions here. There's a couple bits that are a little bit different, but overall, if you had the original XE suit, unless you absolutely love this comic representation of this, I don't know if you would need it necessarily. I don't remember playing with this in the game. I think this is just like an offshoot. I remember playing with the XE suit, which was really cool, in the DLC with Mr. Freeze. So that was pretty wild. But I would absolutely say that my biggest criticism of this figure is actually not this figure. It's the fact that we haven't got a Batman from Batman Arkham Origins. The actual proper Batman suit. We don't have that yet. We have Arkham Knight. We have all these other options that exist out there, but not the original Origins suit. And while I would say that, Origins was my least favorite of the first 4 games that came out. Origins was outside with WB, so they weren't part of the Rocksteady team. So the Rocksteady team, I think, were better games, in my opinion. One of the things that really pissed me off about Arkham Origins as a game was there felt like there was a ceiling in the game. So as Batman, you have a grappling hook, you're grappling up to all these buildings, and then you'd get to the top of a building and you could see just one more ledge that looks like you should be able to grapple to, but there's an invisible ceiling. Can't do it. and it just broke immersion for me in the game. And I know that's maybe a weird thing, but it bothered me so much that it diminished my affection of that game itself. And something that I liked about Arkham Knight anyways was that they expanded that a little bit, and there was no more ceiling anymore. Like, you could get about as high as you could look, which I thought was good. So all that to say, the game itself was really cool. I would still love to see the Origin suit, because I did love the Origin suit, and this is special for the people who are interested. This is a limited item, but it's not for me. It doesn't light up. It does have the cool specially applied UV luminous reflective effect paint, which I appreciate, but you have to have a black light on hand in order to actually take a good look at that as well. So it's a skip, but it is freaking cool, and happy Batman Day yesterday. Mr. Adam, what are your thoughts here on this variant?
Yeah, and when I was in high school and college, I used to have a black light and a Jim Morrison poster and a poster of the album cover of Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. I wish I still had that black light, because that would fit in well with this figure. It looks cool. I mean, if I'd never played this game, I think I played like the first Arkham game, and I never continued after that. Not a huge Batman fan, but I pretty much stick to the movies and comics. So this one's not for me, but I think it looks really awesome.
Definitely looks awesome, dude. I think that was the piece for me as well that like is always a factor, right? I found, Adam, that like the things that look the coolest in my display, if that's the reason I bought it, are often the ones that go to the bottom shelf, and then sometimes out the door when I need to make space for something else or a character that I want more, or to take up more real estate in the display. So like the cool factor, while that's definitely a factor in our desire to buy a lot of the time, for me, it's always, the calculus of, am I just buying it because it's cool, or buying it because it actually means something to me? The other piece out here, Adam and Dave, that I wanted to highlight was the Batman XE suit. You can still buy it on Sideshow, and as of right now, it's 20% off. So whereas this one's still, the new one's still coming in at full price, you can still get the previous variant for pretty significantly cheaper, if the suit means something to you. But Arkham Origins line has been so spaced out as well, and again, no Origins proper suit. Was this one going to be something that you would consider putting in your display, Dave? Maybe the cool factor wins for you on this one, or not? Where you at?
I want them both.
You do?
I can't justify buying either just yet. I'm still. This is one of those things where if I get to the point ever where my pre-order list isn't just ginormous, where I'm starting to downsize a little bit, and I'm in that season of my collection right now, because I've got too much stuff and I don't have enough space, and I've got more stuff coming that I need to make room for. But this is one of those things where I can just see having one giant friggin' display dedicated to your own Batcave, and this would be so cool, sitting there with the XE suit in like an armory situation, right? It'd be so badass. And I haven't read the comics with this. I've seen a few panels and it looks really cool, and I like the idea of it, and I think this is badass. Obviously it isn't, accurate to what was in the comics, because the devs didn't want to go the trouble of rebuilding a whole new suit. They just took what they had and did that, and then Hot Toys followed suit. But I still think that this is a great adaptation. I think it's pretty sick. I think if I had a Philly setup like I want to have,
mm-hmm.
I can see it making so much in-world sense that if he's got the XE suit, he took that technology and adapted it to the Hellbat. So I can see why they would be similar in design. So I think that's pretty cool for like an in-world kind of blending of technologies. I think that's neat. But I would definitely have this, and maybe one day if I find it cheap enough, I'll get it. But right now, no, it's not a thing that I'm spending $400+ on.
Definitely a bargain bin contender, right? Something.
Yeah,
If I could get my hands on it, I'd be happy. If somebody got this for me as like a gift, I'd be over the moon.
That'd be fantastic.
Right? That'd be so cool, right?
Oh,
so
absolutely.
no hate for the figure. It's more of like, do I do I justify the bucks? You know, do I need it? Is this one that I need to take up some real estate on, or do I just think it looks cool? And Keith Lee with a really excellent clarification here, buddy. So thank you so much for shouting this out. He says the Soso Toys Batman is limited to 300, which we knew, but is already released.
Okay.
Already released. So I mean, hey, that changes it for me a little bit, just because, hey, if we can already get our hands on it, maybe then gives you the opportunity to get it right away if you tried, for anybody who wanted it. But 300 worldwide is also incredibly
And
small
to be clear,
figures.
it's not a bad figure, I don't think.
No.
It's just it's not where I would like it to be. Like if you went somewhere between the So-So figure and the what was the other one? The S-Hero. If you went somewhere between those, then it would be great. Like the S-Hero had a great body shape, but I can't forgive those gorilla arms. That's the only thing that stopped me from buying it. Like I had it on order and I saw those arms, I said no. And I
look a little bit strange.
Yeah, I let Kit keep my NRD, and I was like, no, dude, no, you can have that. I'll donate to the cause then that way. But
Philly says I was contemplating the XE suit since it's still in stock and all, but this is so much better instant cop. I agree. I think if you're gonna pick one or the other, this might have been a good this or that contender video, if I'm honest, because like if you like XE suit, which one would stand out to you more? This would be where I would lean. But I've also always just loved red and black like aesthetic as well. I think on most figures, anything that's red and black definitely does pop in the display. Keith asks you, Dave, did you get the SST patch, the Soso Toys patch?
Oh yeah, I wasn't going to. I was gonna let it go because I had recently decided to stop doing third parties where I expected to maybe see an official version, because I got burned several times doing that, and I'm just over it. But I saw it, and I saw how good it looked when people were showing it off, and it was still available, and I still got it at retail price after, like a couple of weeks maybe. And I was like, screw it, I'll get it, and if Hot Toys makes one, I'll get that, and then I'll just put a different head on this. Maybe I'll give this Deadpool's head, and we'll go that way. But it's a great figure. It is a fantastic figure. We have yet to see how the jacket's going to fare, because white clothing likes to tend to yellow in certain places. It happened with my
beside yellow figures too, so I wonder if it'll get a little bit of yellowness just from, like, if it yellows and then it's beside the yellow figures, it's gonna look
yeah, maybe it'll stand out more. Yeah, well, my Mr. Knight happened. It happened to him, and it was sad. And I've got the Hot Toy on order, because they put that up not long after I got my So-So one. I'm like, well, fuck, that's the one that I wanted in the first place. I was mad that Hot Toys wasn't making him. And now suddenly I get a third party one, and they're like, hey, guess what? Fuck you, Howard.
There you go. Tell us how you really feel.
Hey Dave, that Ahsoka display you had there is also really awesome. That's like, remember Charlie's Angels? That's like Anakin's Angels right there.
I love it, dude.
Yes.
This was the vision. As soon as I realized that they were going to have Ahsoka the White and Padawan, I was like, yep, that's what's going to happen. And as soon as I get
Anakin's Angels,
dude, for real, when I finally get proper lightsabers for him, which is going to be a lot of money, it's going to really set that off.
That Padawan's a nice figure. I just got that last week.
She is. She's really good. She's really, really good.
Jagron 2, which is our buddy Lane Kramer, says, I love the Hellbat look for this, but I own the 1/4 scale statue on Prime 1 of the Hellbat. It looks cooler.
Yeah.
So that one does look really crazy. The wings looks really crazy on that. If you haven't had a chance to see that, I'd definitely, Instagram it or look it up after the fact. It is pretty freaking cool, man. That's a flex, 100%. He says, also, probably going to be in the queue for Brown Suit Wolverine tomorrow morning for me. Yeah, we're going to talk about Brown Suit here pretty quick. Yep. So stick around, guys. If you don't mind, we have somewhere between 50 and 60 people watching. Get nuts with us here on Sunday. If you don't mind hitting the like button, if you're just joining us, it would definitely be appreciated. Let's see here. What's next on our display? Ooh, we got Iron Man Mark IV Sub-Zero Fractal Armor. Now, we don't have to go into too much detail, because these boys and we chatted a little bit about this in terms of our kind of first gut reactions on this the other night on Open Mic. But we've had a chance to sit with these figures for a couple days. and maybe get a little excited about what's coming next. Iron Man Mark IV Sub-Zero Fractal Armor. What are you guys thinking about this? For me, I have liked it more as I've looked at it. I do think that the fractal armor piece, I think it looks cool. I think it's going to reflect light really nice in a display. I think there's an element to which I can appreciate why they make it. However, I think I speak for at least myself, if not lots of you out there. If we got one Iron Man a quarter at this point, I think I'd be more excited. But it does start to feel like, God, like another version, and the fatigue definitely can set in. On the other hand, I'm not an exclusive Iron Man or a person who collects Iron Man. So if I just collected Iron Man, I would be pretty stoked to know that there's lots of these options that exist. It also depends on how much you maybe like the Mark IV outfit itself. Maybe you want multiple different looks for the Mark IV if it's your favorite Iron Man suit. That's always a possibility as well. But for me, this is still a pass, whether it's diecast, whether it looks cool or not. Like I mentioned earlier, there's just so many other things that I want to save my money for. And I appreciate that Hot Toys gives us something else to look at and talk about, but it's still a skip. Lane here says, the Sub-Zero Plane Zero Iron Man, please get ref. What? Am I the Sub-Zero Plane Zero Iron Man? Please, I'm not sure what you mean, but thank you for the $2 super chat, my friend. I appreciate you as always, of course. What do you think, Dave? Has this one grown on you at all over the week, or is it still about the same? How you feeling?
I think I like both of the fractal armors. I think they both look really good. I've got my one Iron Man, and I'm good with him. But this is another one that if I saw it in the bargain bin, I might grab it, because I said it before. Like, it's like we've got seasonal Iron Man at this point. Like, this is your Christmas Iron Man, right? Like, I want to put him on the shelf with a little carrot on his face and a top hat and a broom, and have like Deadpool with a Santa hat like hanging out there with him. It's so festive. And then you've got the other fractal armor, which is like, it's like your New Year's Eve Iron Man, right? It looks all fireworky. I think those would be fun, like in those particular, like, celebratory situations. I kind of like it a lot. I think it looks really good. They both look amazing. This one looks really, really, really nice, I think. And this is one that I wouldn't mind having. But again, I'm not spending the regular retail cost on it. If it's something that I can get for, ridiculously cheap later, then I'll get it. But otherwise, I'm not going to worry about it.
Fair enough. That's fair. Windman42 has a proposition for you here, Dave. He says, love X-Men's Wolvie display, but if I'm being honest, it's way too crowded. He'll DM you his address so you can slim it down if you decide you'd like to give any of those figures away.
Can I?
Well said. Well said. Maybe. Maybe. Adam, I'm curious for you, has this sat on you any differently since we chatted about it a couple of days ago, as well as, have you ever considered like a holiday display where you do actually swap figures out depending on the season? Because I've thought about doing that for Halloween, actually, if I'm honest. There's lots of cool horror figures that exist that I don't necessarily feel like I need to have on display all the time, but I think it could be cool, maybe the month of October, swapping out some of my favorites for some of those horrors. But that would just mean that I'd have to keep some in the closet as well. So, I don't know if I would ever actually commit to that idea or not. What are your thoughts, buddy?
Well, my initial reaction when I saw this is to be snarky and say, figure of the year. But listen, I also recognize I'm a realist and a pragmatist, and I realize that Iron Man figures keeps the lights on at Hot Toys headquarters, and it's their big customer base for these in the Asian markets, and that's why they keep pumping them out. And if that means that they do a million variants of Iron Man figures, so I can get my Jar Jar figure and I can get my Cassian Andor figure, do it, because I want those figures. If that helps subsidize some of the other things that I want, by all means, keep pumping these out. But I gotta say, in full transparency, I got 6 Iron Man figures, plus I have a Tony Stark figure, so it's I'm kind of in that customer pool. I do think it looks really cool. I think the first one, I actually had the initial refractor Iron Man on pre-order, and I decided to cancel it just because I already have the Mark IV. I didn't think I needed it, but I do think it looks really neat. In terms of holiday figures, I have the Mantis figure. She comes with a Christmas sweater, and I think there's some other figure I have that may have like a theme to
she
it.
does.
But I haven't thought about, because I don't put anything away if it's all the figures are out. So yeah, my wife again used to collect Barbies, and they would have these little she would get like Christmas themed Barbies and Valentine's Day theme and Halloween, and she would do this display with them. So if she ever did that again, she sold a lot of them since, but if she has some left, I guess I could take a few of my Hot Toys and do some photography there with them.
I've seen some people put like Santa hats on their figures and stuff at Christmas. I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah,
it would take some effort, honestly, but I think I could be cool.
I have the Carolyn Grimm ones.
Hair, but yeah, right. Okay, yeah, fair. I also really liked that Mantis. I'm jealous that I didn't buy that one. I thought about it.
She is a great figure. Nice.
Yeah.
My best buddy, he ended up buying. He's not even a huge Hot Toys collector, but his girlfriend really likes Mantis, and they like Christmas combined, so they bought that figure. And I'm freaking jealous. And then they upgraded her. They like, I thought she was amazing at first, and then they gave her the updated face and everything, which looked like even better in my opinion. It was wild. So same with this guy though. We talked a little bit about this. The Miles Morales Alien versus Avenger suit comes with some really cool accessories for sure. The chest hugger, or the chest, what do they call it? Chest huggers, I guess, something like that. Really, really cool looking piece. I love the Xenomorph head sculpt that's there. The purple definitely feels very Miles Morales, which I appreciate. Bendable wires are embedded, so you can kind of twist it around the arm if you want. What did you call this? A cum suit or something the other day? It was dirty.
Yes.
But now that you've said it, I'm like,
it was like 2 in the morning, so that was the after hours.
Kind of, it's like, it's nasty, but yeah, I mean, at the same time, like it's one of those figures that falls into the, it's cool if somebody bought it for me, I definitely put it on display. It feels a little bit like some of the other variants that we've had in the past without me having the same nostalgic connection to it. I haven't read the comic that's associated with this, so for me, I don't get that nostalgic punch on the chest for it. If anything, I'm more nostalgic for the video game options that have existed, like the negative suit and stuff. Like, I played with the negative suit quite a bit in the game, so enjoyed that look. This just feels like they had spare pieces of both Spider-Man and Alien kind of floating around, and they're like, what can we do with these items to make figure collectors buy something else? And for some of us, I think it's going to add to our displays, right? This is the thing that I like about collection tours, because every year you see all the YouTubers and everybody putting up their collection tours, and a lot of the time we have a lot of the same figures. This is one of those figures, in my opinion, that I might not want it right now, but if I saw it on a cool display in a video like that, I might be like, damn, that actually does look pretty freaking. That does look pretty freaking sweet. So while it's a pass for me, it's not something that I'm gonna pick up. I pass it back to you guys. Is this something that you guys are interested in buying? Let us know in the chat if any of you guys here, we've over 50 people watching, and a lot of you guys watching are dedicated collectors. You guys are here every single week, right? Did any of you guys buy this one? Or even that Frosty Iron Man? Adam, what were your thoughts here now that you've had a chance to sit on these for a couple days?
I never read the comic, so it doesn't it doesn't have any emotional connection. I love Spider-Man. I love Aliens. It's still not enough for me to pick this up. I'm kind of more interested in the accessories of the Aliens than I actually am of the Spider-Man figure. But I think this would be interesting when you do, like you're saying, you do see those collection tours of seeing this posed with the big chap, if someone has that, or with the other Alien figure and Rain, if people get that from Romulus or Ripley, the older Ripley figure. I think that would be an interesting display.
That's true. Yeah. 100%. Irman Hazim says, hi brothers, shout all the way from Malaysia as always, guys. Malaysia, that's awesome, man. He says, I want to listen to your thoughts on the brown and tanned Wolverine suit that they just teased us. Yep, that is our next discussion, so stay tuned, my friend. We'll definitely get there, and thanks for watching all the way from Malaysia, man. That's really, really cool. Mr. Dave, Has this one sat on you any differently? Any extra thoughts since we had a chance to kind of chat about this the other day? Spider.
Not really. It's not something that is really on my radar. Like I do like that we're getting all the crossover action, and obviously because Disney owns it all now, with Aliens and Predator and Marvel stuff, and I like that because you've got DC versus Aliens as well, and you've had like Batman has fought a Predator a couple of times, and it's just fun, the idea that we can link everything together through that, like I guess now, since we've had Aliens in both Marvel and DC, then really it's just the same universe. They're just in different areas of the cosmos for these different, and that's cool. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, that's fair. The blending of ideas is cool. I agree.
Yeah.
And it's not something, I don't think that's something that they're ever going to 2.0. I think this is an example of a figure that seems pretty safe on the 2.0 front. If once you have it, I don't think they're ever going to come back to this one again. So again, it will help to differentiate people's displays to a certain extent. Whereas some of those mainstays, right? The Terminators and those guys, like they always get their 2.0 or 3.0. If you're Iron Man, maybe a 4.0 treatment, right? That was actually one point I meant to make on the Iron Man pieces, is that, I would expect that the next batch of Iron Mans that we're really going to start seeing will all have that USB functionality, whereas only a handful of them now have, right? They're already going that direction. My Mark 7, I love that figure. It's the 2.0 Mark 7 diecast. It's an amazing figure. But he's always turned off. He's not lit. I never put the batteries in and turn him on. Like, he's just powered down all the time. It would bring that figure to life if he was on display lit. I just know it. And so they'll get there as well. So that'll be the next round of Iron Man fatigue that we talk about. Is great, yay! All the figures we already have, now we have to sell for less money to try and trade up. That might be an example, though, of I'm happy enough with my 1.0 or 2.0 that I don't feel the need to spend all that money again. But I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let's talk about Wolverine. Classic brown and tan suit. This one has sat with me for a couple days now. I was a little tired when I spoke about this the other night. I'm surprised I didn't get more heat for it, because I did say in that video that I do think that the face still looks like a crackhead. No, I maintain that thought. I still honestly think he looks a little crackheadish. Just the way I was hoping to feel differently. I don't. The way his teeth pop out the bottom, I know what they're trying to do. I get it that it's this look that they're trying to give us, right? And I do think that with the rolling eye system, if they posed his eyes looking upright slightly with his face tilted down a little bit more, I think it would be there more. But I will say that I definitely like the other head sculpt more, the yellow suited version head sculpt. I just like it more. But with the brown suit, because they give you a really cool new cowl, and the cowl is different than the yellow suited cowl, so that's cool. I think if I was going to display this, I don't think I'm going to go after this figure, guys, by the way, just for the sake of argument. I'm going to leave it in the queue for somebody else who just wants it more, despite I think it looking pretty freaking awesome. But if I was going to display this, yeah, I think it would be the cowled representation. I like the cowl look just a lot more for the brown suited variant, even though he's not wearing the cowl in the actual scene that they're pulling this from. I like it more, but the suit has grown on me a little bit more. The shoulder pads are definitely a little bit aggressive, especially with regards to the photo that you see here on the left. Otherwise, I think it looks pretty darn close. The only other piece that I'll mention here before I go to you guys is, when we were looking at this first glance the other day, I literally was about to say, wouldn't it be cool if they had like the Hulk reflecting in the blades? And then one of you guys in the chat was like, yeah, no, they literally gave us that. But then everybody I've listened to talk about this figure otherwise, they're like, yeah, we probably wouldn't use it. Yeah, it's whatever. Like, who cares? And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm glad I wasn't the one that came up with the idea then, as a result, because I thought it was cooler than other people do. But yeah, for me, I just don't like this face, so it would stay in the box, which feels like a waste of a head sculpt, if I'm honest. And when I take a look at the history of head sculpts, shout out to our buddy Feezy's Figures, who came up with this slide. I ripped it off of him from one of his shows the other night. Shout out to Feezy's Figures on YouTube. Please go and subscribe to that man. He's a sweethearted man, and he's an awesome collector dude. But he posted this, and we got a chance to see also some variants of the head sculpts over the years. And of course, in my opinion, I still think that yellow suited version is by far the best. Sterling says, ditto Ben, he likes the cowl more as well. So now that you've had a chance to look at this for a couple more days, X-Men, I think you were probably pretty much a buy right out of the gate. But has it sat with you any differently now that you've had a chance to have a better look at the figure here?
No, it does have its shortcomings, and those were obvious from the start. The shoulder pads are very aggressive, and they definitely they did with his shoulder pads what they did with Yelena's shoulder pads. They're too high, they're too big. They take away from the shoulders, oddly enough. If he does have traps, you can't tell.
That's weird.
Yeah, and it definitely, because it looks like his shoulders are more flat than anything, and I think
part of me thought, Dave. Part of me thought, is it just bad posing? If you get this in hand, can you shift the shoulders down slightly so you can see more of that trap, right? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe because if they're able to move up and down like a lot of figures are, maybe that might be helpful. But they did the same thing again with Yelena. It's so flat up here that it adds to that effect of looking like a crackhead. It really, really does.
Yeah.
Because he's got more neck, and it's a skinny neck, and it just does not help the situation, right? Sure. But all that aside, I'm still getting. And the Hulk face in the closet I think is really cool. I'm not gonna use it. I might pose it like that for a day, but it's the silicone arms. You don't want to keep them bent for a long time like that. So I'm not really gonna do that. But what I would love. Here's what they missed with the Wolverine figures. Here's what they really, really missed with the Wolverine figures. We've got, 4 now? You've got the yellow, you got the brown suit now, you've got the Hot Girl Summer edition. Mm-hmm. You've got the Weapon X one. Because 2 of those have the exact same, 3 of them technically have the exact same sculpt. And I really think among all of these, at least one of them should have had an unmasked rage sculpt.
Agreed.
It's like the Joker not having a laughing sculpt, right? It's one of those things that the character should have, and he doesn't, and I think it takes away from it. But also, it's fine enough without it because you've got the mask that is more with the facial plates and all that. But I would love to see someone like maybe Topo or somebody make the outfit that he wears in the bar in the beginning when we first see him.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to have that and put that over one of my yellow suits. You'd have to take the pads off, of course, because that's not the whole time I'm watching that movie, I'm thinking, how did the mechanics of that, how did you fit that costume under that, the jacket? He would have looked like he was a businesswoman in the 80s with those friggin' pauldrons on under his jacket. What would he? Yep. But still, it's something I want to do. Hopefully, someone does it. They made a tracksuit for King Shark. They can do this.
Absolutely. What's your favorite Wolverine head sculpt so far? Then
I think it's got to be this new one. It's the best looking one. Objectively, it's the best looking one. Yeah, the yellow, because it would have been the Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I forgot about that.
But the friggin' prototype isn't what we got.
Yeah, the Wolverine.
And I maintain that it is not just a downgrade from from original to print. They redid that sculpt and it looks different. I think it looks unacceptably different. It's still a good sculpt, and if we didn't see what what the prototype was, then it wouldn't be an issue. But the prototype was so good. It was so good. And it's a shame.
I'm really on the fence because I've seen a couple people who have got this now in hand quickly, right, from overseas and stuff, put the new head sculpt from the MMS 753 onto the 659 or 660 sculpt, the Days of Future Past. And just because they think it's a better sculpt, which it is a better sculpt, I will say, but I'm not totally sold. Originally that's what I was gonna do, but I think that the new sculpt, he looks too old. on
Yeah,
that
it
Days of
doesn't
Future
fit like
Past
that.
body. I don't think it fits well. And like, I don't know. I'm gonna do experiment when I get it in hand, because I really also like the look of the cowl on the yellow suit as well. Same with the brown
Yeah.
suit. So I have to have one that's got the cowl on, I think, but I don't want two of the same figure. I also think, like, again, it's weird to me whenever Hot Toys goes after a scene specific expression, because if you don't get the reference, then the expression seems odd, which I didn't at first. When I first looked at these the other night, I was like, what the hell is this expression? And it was all you guys in the chat that were like, Ben, it's that scene, right? Like, it's him sticking his claws out. I'm like, okay, this photo on the right, I like it more. I do like it more. But otherwise, I think it looks weird. Like, he's kind of got like a weird smirkiness to him when he's walking up. He doesn't look as badass or angry, in my opinion, as I would like for Wolverine. And I think you nailed it when you say, how come he doesn't have a rage or like a berserker sculpt in any of these boxes?
Yeah.
It seems like
This face right here would have been better, I think.
Agreed. And
Yeah.
because even still, I would have been happy, even again, not exactly scene specific, but having the reflective claws up in front of that more angry look, I think would still be, in my opinion, kind of cooler. But that's just me. I still think it's a cool suit. I have seen a few folks in the chat saying that, you know, they're going to wait. There is no rush. Ash Chase mentioned that there. But this is a limited item. Adam, do you think this is going to sell out? I think it goes up for pre-order tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So I definitely think this is going to sell out. I already bought it. I have I have an event at work. There's no way I'm going to be able to get in front of, sit on my phone and my computer at the same time at noon my time to get on that queue. So I knew I'd be out, and I've wanted this figure since I saw the movie. That was one of the first things. I'm like, yeah, I want the yellow suit, and I definitely want a Hot Toys brown suit, because that's the for the most part, this is the outfit that I grew up reading him in the comic books with, the classic John Byrne suit. So I couldn't wait. I went and, you know, I paid the penalty to get it from Hong Kong reseller, but at least I know I don't have to. At least I'm gonna have to pay. I would have had to pay it anyway, because I wouldn't be in the queue tomorrow. If I was able to be in the queue, I would have taken my chances.
That's fair.
You know, in terms of this figure, I think. Listen, I think people who are going to get this, by and large, this is their. You know, unless they. Maybe they've already had another Wolverine, like Days of Future Past or some of the previous Wolverines, but this is probably going to be their second Wolverine figure, or third Wolverine figure, because they already have in pre-order the first Deadpool and Wolverine figure, and they maybe have the deluxe one, and they're going to use that figure if they don't already have two. I have two of the yellow suit figures, one with the mask, and I got the deluxe one. Without the with the head sculpt, and the one with the mask and with the cowl, and I'm displaying both. You know, and the one I have with the silicone arms, one with, one without, on display. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna display the brown suit with the cowl, and kind of pose him up like the cover of X-Men, Jim Lee's X-Men #1. And then I'm going to try taking the head sculpt and just see what it looks like on the Days of Future Past. I think you could be right. I think it might look too old, but I just want to see what it looks like on there. And if not, I'll just keep it in the box. But listen, I think if this was the first figure, this brown suit was the first Wolverine that was released, you wouldn't have the near universal acclaim that the yellow suit got. Because to me, that yellow suit Wolverine is my vote for figure of the year. Maybe my vote for one of the best Hot Toys figures ever. Anything after that with Wolverine is like gravy. And so, yeah, it's a scene specific head sculpt. It's okay, but I don't care, because I'm going to display, no matter what, I was going to display it with the cowl.
Fair. Fair. Very well said, dude. Very, very well said.
You know what you could do? If you have the Old Man Logan figure, and you got the bomber jacket with him, I was thinking maybe I might take this sculpt, from the brown suit, go ahead and put it on the Wolverine body, but give that body the bomber jacket from Old Man Logan, and get a hold of some of those, extra hands with the adamantium claws, and try that out. See how that looks.
Yeah,
that might work.
What do you think's more likely, that we see a patch Wolverine or a Cavalrine from the film X-Men?
They're gonna make a Cavalrine because everyone's got that fucking stupid hard on for Cavalrine, and I fucking hate it. So yes, they're gonna rub it in my face by making a figure of it. Is what they're gonna do.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
It did. Yeah.
Like,
no, well said.
Like, here's the thing for me with Wolverine. It's only been Hugh Jackman for the most part, except for this last movie. With this whole time, and when it first happened, and there are a lot of people that are still holdouts that are like, I don't like the Jackman Wolverine because he's a friggin' giant, and I agree with them. He's a friggin' giant. Like, he is a whole foot almost taller than Wolverine should be, and that has always been a bother to me. And I always look at these movies, all of them, like they're just a what if scenario. Because if I don't, I will die. I will literally actually die from imploding with all the anger that I would have for the disrespect for the source material that all of these movies have. Every single one of them. I have to treat it like it's something else because it's not the comics. It's a whole different universe with a whole different backstory. So it's a what if scenario. That's great. Multiverse, woo. But we've had our time with not even arguably, he has become Wolverine. He truly has. And I love what he's done with the character. I think that there have been there was some rough patches getting there, but I think he got there, and I think he's iconic in that role. And I cannot argue against that. He's great. I love him as Wolverine. Now, that being said, I do think that it's time for a proper Wolverine. It's time we're in the MCU. The X-Men have come home. Let's do it right this time. And it can still be just as iconic, and it can still be great, and everybody can be happy with Wolverine.
See, to me, Hugh Jackman's owned this role since he first appeared in that first 2000 X-Men film, and he's at the bar, and Anna Paquin's Rogue comes up to him, and she asks him when he retracted the claws, does it hurt? And he goes, every time. Like, to me, that dude has owned that role since that scene.
That was a great line too. It really was. I think the only problem that I had with him in that movie, aside from being giant, was he was. I always thought he was way too skinny.
In the first film?
He was in the first film. Yeah, he was way too skinny. But also, that comes with being a tall guy. So I'll forgive that. But no, he was great from the start. But with my own minor quibbles about like the writing and about certain other things, he did a great job no matter what. He's just he can't help that he's a giant. So there's that. But no, he's great. I think he's fantastic. And X2 is one of the all-time best X-Men movies. It really is, where he's going through the mansion just wrecking everybody. That was so great. I will watch that scene just by itself so much. And people complain about how they focus so much on Wolverine in those movies. But, I mean, as a Wolverine fan, I focus on him more. I'm good with it.
Well, and he brought people in, I think, in a way, to superhero films that up to that point, like, people had been avoiding them, right? Like, even though, like, superhero films had been known as being kind of silly and campy, right? They could recall things like Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. So when the X-Men films came out, it was like, okay, like, this is how superhero films could be. Like, they could be better, and they're still cheesy in their own ways in a lot of ways, but like,
sure,
it did bring it up to a new kind of echelon or new level, in my opinion, of superhero films. And like, without the weight of Hugh Jackman in that role, like, I don't know if height would have made a difference for his popularity as long as the people still liked the character. You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't in reality.
That's what
you would
everyone
think, right?
says.
Because I didn't watch Wolverine and go, wow, because he's tall and huge, like it's, he's that much cooler. Like the portrayal of the role is still the portrayal of the role, and unfortunately, it's a universe we never got, so we don't know what like the height proper Wolverine would have looked like. I do like that Deadpool showed us a height proper Wolverine in the film as kind of a comic relief, just to be like, are you sure you guys would have wanted it like this? But at the same time, if that's what we'd had from the beginning, I would argue, yeah, I think for people who are true Wolverine fans like yourself, they would say, yeah, hell yeah, I want it to be as accurate as possible. He was badass in the X-Men animated show, and he wasn't tall like Cyclops was, right? Like I mean, he was badass. It doesn't matter. So I don't know. I'd be curious to see. It would be fun if you could watch another alternate universe version where he was height proper from the beginning, in comparison to the comics. But we'll see. Batflex Pelato says, I love Cyclops, but Marsden does not cut it at all. I didn't hate Marsden in the role, I wouldn't say, but he didn't have the same weight as I would want to with the Cyclops. Prosty says, I agree. I believe Hugh Jackman owns the role since the very first minute that he appeared. I mean, lots of different opinions. Some people really like the Wolverine. I think it would be funny to get it. I think it's more likely to get a patch Wolverine because we've already seen all these Hugh Jackman head sculpts. They'd obviously have to go through Cavill to get another variant of his face on a figure, right? So not to say that they couldn't do that, but I think it's less likely. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll be surprised this Tuesday night or Wednesday night when these things tend to come around. So, guys, let us know in the chat. Do you have a preference? Are you going in after the brown suit over the Wolverine yellow suit? Do you want both in your collection? Do you think these are going to sell out like Adam has forecasted? Also, have you done what he's done, which is, hey, you know what? I get it. I don't want to fight people for this figure. I know I want it, so I'm going to pay a little more up front to get it locked in. I think that that's a smart choice if you know for sure you have to have it. On the other hand, I've said it a couple times before, it really pisses me off these limited items lately. Because Hot Toys does not number their figures, I don't like fighting people in a queue for them. I think if they want to continue to do no numbered editions, then they should give us a timed window so that the people like you and me, Adam, that are going to be at work tomorrow when this comes up, I either don't have to take an early lunch break to try and hopefully still manage to get out or not get a work call in between or whatever, or just risk missing it altogether like I did with Artisan Bucky Barnes. I was so mad. I wanted that figure so badly and I could not get out of the meeting that I was in. And so I missed it, right? And so give us a timed window if you're not going to number your releases. If you're going to number them, then sure, I'm more willing to fight other collectors for my chance at a numbered variant of these options. Because for all we know, they've pumped out 10,000 of these and they just say there's 3. And I've never liked that tinfoil hat theory, but I also have no other way to prove it otherwise. And I don't know 3,000 of us to ask, unfortunately, or I would. But guys, let's move on to our last topic of the day.
Real quick, Ben. I don't want to interrupt you, but I do want to highlight what Frosty Shinobi said here, which is very, very true. The actor doing the body work for Short King Wolverine actually is considerably shorter than 5'3". I read somewhere that he's 4'10". I have not been able to confirm that. He doesn't. No one shows their height really on social media unless you're abnormally tall. Then it's a point of, discussion. But like, I've read that he's 4'10". He definitely looks a lot shorter, and the way they filmed it definitely made him look a lot shorter. They played it up for laughs, which I don't appreciate. But at the same time, yes, it is a huge difference, like 5 inches down versus 5 inches up, so it definitely made a difference, but I do want to have that figure. I agree it would be good a figure.
Yeah, interesting clarification for sure. Ehrman also says, I really do agree with X-Men Supreme that the sculpt should be Greedy Man. I missed the yellow and blue suit for this brown, but the brown and tan suit, but yeah, man, the head sculpt, man. So yeah, not loving the sculpt. I think, unfortunately, there. Guys, we still have 50 people at the tail end of the show here. Again, if you haven't had a chance to like the show, would definitely be appreciated, into our last topic and then on your way out the door today, guys. Thank you so much for getting nuts with us on Sunday. It's been a fun show with these boys so far. Last but not least, let's definitely talk quickly about the bundle option here to potentially get free shipping if you're interested in going in on the Inart Walking Dead figures. Now, we're looking at Rick and Negan. Of course, for me, I really liked Walking Dead, especially the first 5 seasons. I still remember the very first episode that aired. My best friend and I, we'd heard that this like cool zombie show was going to be happening. And so at the time, he lived across the hallway from me. I actually brought my television over to his apartment and set it up, because if the show ended up sucking, we were going to watch the zombie show while we played video games on the other screen, right? We were back then, we were playing NHL or FIFA or something like that. So we were going to, if it was shitty, we'd just have it on the background. If it was great, it would capture our attention. And we were glued to those first seasons. Every week that a new episode would come out, it was like a whole new event. We'd come over, we'd have snacks. It was awesome. And for years, a lot of people loved The Walking Dead, right? I mean, the zeitgeist and the culture around the show was crazy. They even had those after shows a lot of the time where you could then talk about the episode that you just watched. And because there was some serious emotional trauma in those episodes, especially depending on the characters you loved, watching them turn or get killed or whatever, it always had some great discussion in there. But for me, I stopped watching the show shortly after Negan ended up killing Glenn. Glenn was one of my favorite characters in the show. I thought it was just felt a little unnecessarily violent at the time, and it just pissed me off. I was just like, you know what, I'm done. Watching the devolution of humanity in the show was part of the selling feature, but it got to the point for me where it was just like, it wasn't even about the zombies anymore. It very much was about just the degradation of our humanity. And I think would be very real compared to what would happen in a true apocalypse. I honestly think that's exactly what would happen. There'd be factions of groups, just like The Last of Us, even when you think about The Last of Us. And you think that really nobody's a good guy or a bad guy. Everybody lives in the element of the gray. If you are defending yourself against others, are you the bad guy for defending yourself and hurting somebody else? Or are you the good guy for saving the people that you love, depending on? So again, there was lots of great questions with regards to humanity in the show, but it got a little too dark, and after a while, I stopped watching. And I would say if these figures had come out 6 years ago, maybe even slightly longer, when I was still watching it, it would have been an unquestionable buy. I mean, I thought Rick was badass. I loved the fact that Rick here with the figure comes with his gun and a hand to like hold the gun, just like he did in the series. Like, I think that looks really cool. The artisan hair, I think, looks fantastic. The Daryl Dixon that's been teased as well looks fantastic. But for me, the hype is a little dead on this one. And while these look great, I feel like I don't need them anymore. The nostalgia for the show is gone, just like the show itself. So for me, I haven't watched any of the spin-offs. This feels very much like it's pulling from my original nostalgia button, which is no longer there. So it's a skip for me, but they do look really good. And to Inart's credit, I really feel like I haven't been disappointed with anything that Inart has done. There's been a couple of prototype photos, like the Draco Malfoy and the Wonder Woman, that I didn't love the look of them in their protos, but everything else that's actually been released from Inart, to me, looks fantastic and clearly worth the price point, in my opinion. So I don't think these are going to be any slouch. I think these are going to be great figures. If you had the old 3-0 ones, these are definitely an upgrade. But the 3-0 wasn't necessarily a slouch either. It still represented the collection for what it was. This is a skip for me. Adam, how did you end up feeling with regards to Inart here on The Walking Dead?
So you can see here if you want a full screen. This is my 3-0.
Right. Yep.
Rick Grimes, just got this last year from Sideshow. Season
Doesn't look bad.
This is season 7 Rick, and it's a very similar outfit to the Inart one. Just the shirt might be slightly grayer than that. I mean, listen, what Inart kind of circling back to our earlier conversation, good enough for government service. I'm happy with this Rick Grimes that I have. I spent $200 $15 or something for him. To me, I can't justify spending an additional for a similar outfitted Rick Grimes, even though this is the one from Inart is clearly a superior figure. There's no question in my mind. But
Of course.
I'm happy with the one I got here. Now, if Inart came out with a season 1 Rick Grimes with his sheriff's outfit, the hat, gun, maybe a horse, that's something different. Or a season 4.5 to the first half of season 5 Rick Grimes with the leather bomber jacket and like maybe blood splatter on his face. The Berserker Rick when he was just very feral after the prison fell, and when they are on the way to Alexandria, that one I'd be interested in. But I'm like, well, I wish I quit Walking Dead when you did. I've seen them all. I went through the whole series.
You went through the whole
I
thing.
watched Fear the Walking Dead. I've watched the spinoffs, and we're at the point now. They're now on season 3 of the Daryl Dixon show, and the first 2 seasons are pretty good. They go to Europe. Now it's kind of become like Daryl and Carol's European vacation. It's getting repetitive. The problem with The Walking Dead is, like you said, it was, the enemy was the walkers were like a natural disaster. Initially, they were the enemy, so to speak, but they kind of became a natural disaster, and the enemy was man's inhumanity to man and how evil and how far down the moral pathway people would go to save themselves and to survive. So that to me was fascinating. But then the show not just did it kill off Glenn and Abraham in that one episode in a pretty grisly ways, but the Savior's War lasted way too long. It was 2.5 years, way too long. It should have been shortened. And then the show just kind of became repetitive, and maybe the hallmark sin of any TV show became boring and stale. And it becomes boring, stale, and repetitive. That's a sad thing. Unfortunately, I stuck with it, hoping it'll get better. And now we're at the point where I stayed too long, and we're like, who cares? We don't care anymore. Now, circling back to the figures, I've seen this show twice. Once when it originally aired, the original Walking Dead, and then we rewatched it when Emily got old enough, and she loves The Walking Dead, and she loves Negan, and she actually cosplays as Negan at some Comic-Cons. So this is, I showed her, we were watching the videos together of the figure previews, and she wants this figure, so I'm going to be getting this for her, the Negan figure. So this is coming home, and possibly Daryl Dixon when that comes out.
Yeah, you're gonna do both, eh?
Yeah,
Cool.
because I still have a lot of love for those initial like six seasons or so, up until the Savior's War. I love. I mean, that was and actually in the Whisperers War, I like that season too.
I don't even know it well enough to know exactly anymore. That's the crazy part. It's been so long since I've seen it. I think I just lost it a little bit. But
yeah, well, the Whisperers is after you quit. That's when because eventually
right. Okay.
Rick leaves the show, and then they come across this group of people. Yeah,
Right.
who they wear the masks of the walkers on their faces.
Ooh, my God. Can you imagine? I will say, though, I might have considered getting a Michonne from, like, one of the first times we saw her with the two zombies and tail on the chains with the swords and stuff. I would have considered that as an option. But I liked her more in the beginning, I think, when she was still the badass with the sword herself. But what about you, X-Men? Where did your heart lay for Walking Dead and maybe some of the figures that are associated with it?
I watched the first episode, and I didn't care, so I didn't watch it anymore.
You only got to the first episode. That's crazy.
Yeah, it didn't interest me that much. Like, fair. I think maybe I might have been like, I think I might have been over zombies at that point because they're always everywhere, and while they're a lot of fun, I don't know, something about it just didn't get my attention, and I'm glad because I feel like I would probably buy this Negan figure because he looks badass, and everything I've seen of him, he looks like a badass character. If you know, an evil character.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah, he's awesome
too, right? Like he's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome, and everything I've seen him in, I've loved him.
Hell yeah.
This dude is just cool as hell.
I guess if you had like a Sam and Dean Winchester, you could also get this figure as their dad. From that show as well. Futz him in a little bit, maybe. If, you know.
But look at this guy. Look how cool this guy is. I've not watched all of Supernatural, but what I have watched, I really enjoyed. Like it's a fun show. I like it a lot. Not enough to really like, you know, I'm not crazy into it, but
see, that's the funny part. I think I would buy a Sam and Dean Winchester more than I would buy a Walking Dead figure, just because I loved Supernatural for what it was during that run. But I also did get to the end, and kind of like you said, X-Men, like you only got through the first episode, which is wild because like I do think like unfortunately you did miss a couple of really great seasons of a zombie show, but you have to be into the zombies aspect of it as well. If I think of like post-apocalyptic style of movies and television, for me it's always like world-ending events, like asteroids hitting the planet, like Deep Impact or Armageddon or some of those kind of movies. Like I always like those types of films, or I like zombie apocalypse stuff more than I like things like werewolves and vampires and some of those things. Like I usually like zombies more, or at least in terms of reference. But I mean,
see, it's weird. Like kind of with a lot of horror type stuff, I've watched a lot of, you know, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I watched all the Freddy and Jason and all that movies. And I always think about stuff like that in that genre now. I always think that I would love to see that, but with Wolverine as a protagonist. And in every situation, all those movies and shows will be over in like 10 minutes. So like,
yeah, fair.
but in my mind, it's always like, that's cool, but needs more Wolverine.
Needs more Wolverine. There's not enough Wolverine in this zombie movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, one of the great things about the early, particularly that first episode, that really caught my attention is Rick Grimes, the main character. He sees when he first escapes from the hospital, he sees a woman on a bike who became a walker, she's crawling in a park, and then he comes across her later on in the episode. And he shoots her in the head to put her out of her misery as a walker. And he says, "I'm sorry for what happened to you." And like before that, I never really saw that type of consideration that these were once people. They're not just, they're not just creatures mindless attacking freaks.
You.
Yeah. And then the, the other thing I thought was interesting is the show is, first of all, it gave us, it wasn't his first role, but it really made John Bernthal a star. And the interaction, he was Rick's, before the apocalypse, they were police officers and they were partners, and then they come across each other again. And there's tension there. I don't say too much if you catch up with it. But, there's a philosophy that John Bernthal's character, Shane, has, that you can't trust anyone, that you just got to take care of your immediate group and the heck with everyone else. And Rick does not share that philosophy. He is more open-minded. He wants to build communities. But later on, in later seasons, Rick kind of becomes more like Shane. So it's interesting as the people they encounter, don't share Rick's philosophy, and the bad things happen because of that. I just thought that was, like you said, Ben, some of the interesting moral quandaries that happen. But the death of that show was being boring and being repetitive.
It just got to be so like, man, humanity just gets darker and darker and darker the further and further away we get from the original event. That, like, as I said, once they became used to the zombies walking around and they knew they could kill them relatively easily, they were no longer the scary part of the show. It was how other groups of humans would act. And you couldn't trust anybody. And like you said, the further in they got, Rick did, his humanity changed a little bit in what he saw and his experiences going through it. But I think that's why I liked Rick, at least for the first 5 seasons, because for the most part I related to him. I think I would try to hold on to my humanity longer in that type of world, but then as a result I'd probably be potentially one of the first people that gets killed because I trust somebody that I shouldn't. Now in the show Shane does get killed sooner, but not necessarily to his own fault, right? So it's tough. It's tough. Core's 2K says, I would love to see Inart do Harley and the Joker from Suicide Squad. Less so for me on the Joker. I do have the Joker from that film from Hot Toys. I didn't love Jared Leto's representation, but I feel like he also, kind of like Batfleck, got the short end of the stick. A lot of his script got cut out. A lot of his scenes got cut short. So we didn't get a fully fleshed out version of him. Harley, though, absolutely. I fucking love Harley Quinn, man. I'm so upset that I never got the original one. Hopefully they'll 2.0 her maybe at some point. But although that... is it the red dress Harley? Yeah, like she'll be coming pretty soon on the Artisan line somewhere in the next couple months, I think, which also looks like a great figure. But with regards to these, Walking Dead, it's a skip for me, but good on Inart for giving us something that, we haven't gotten otherwise, not for a little while anyways. Again, 3-0 came out with the last ones, but I think there was some room for improvement. I think they did a pretty good job. But guys, that's it for Getting Nuts today. I want to give a quick shout out to my panelists here, Mr. Adam, 1Adam12. Anything coming up for you and Emily on the 1Adam12 YouTube channel this week?
Yeah, we should be posting. Emily's in college now, so it's a little bit. Her time is a little bit tighter. So I kind of pre-taped a couple of things. So I probably going to be a Darth Sidious, the new Hot Toys. We did an unboxing of that, so hopefully that should be coming out later this week. Right now, I have the unboxing of the new Wolverine and the Batfleck 2.0. Check those out.
Hell yeah. Definitely check those out, dude. Thank you so much for being here as always on your Sunday. I always
a pleasure joining you guys.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, great to see you. Mr. X-Men Supreme, anything coming up for you, buddy, this week that you're excited about?
Getting in that queue for Wolverine. That's the order of the week right there. Nothing else happens and I get that, and that's a good week. But
dude, hell yeah.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, of course, there's going to be the Canon Council next week. That'll be happening. Yeah, man, it's always a good time to get on here and talk to you guys, whether we're doing it here or in the chat elsewhere. Always fun. But yeah, man, glad to be here. Glad to see your faces. Glad to see you in the chats, and looking forward to the next one.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, thanks for being here as always, man. Always appreciate you. I know we talked a little bit about some of these figures a couple days ago on open mic. If you guys missed the open mic show on the Ben Thomas Show, please go back and check that out. Keep your eyes open on notifications. Maybe put your bell notification on if you haven't already for Ben Thomas Show, because for those open mics, I don't always forecast when I'm going to do them. Sometimes I'm just running out of time to catch up on all the figures that are releasing, so I'll go screw it. I'm just going to go live and give you guys my gut check reaction without filtering myself. So it's a little more chill. It's a little different than Let's Get Nuts, but always fun. And these guys were on with me the other day chatting about that. So keeping it real, keeping it honest, but also keeping it fresh for today's show. So thank you, boys, for that. Big shout out to our classy nut crew here. Alvin J, Honest Hansel, Money Mendez, Harry Dempsey, 6 Scale Mafia, 1/6 Figure Focus, Parks Industries, King Dingling, Jose G. Hernandez, The Real Tex Conway, Collection Obsession, The Movie Canon, Figurecraft, Jim Collector, Don Maton, Alex Serrato, Pop Culture Relics, Daniel S.C., Ryan Smith, Collector Joey, Sam Guest, Rachel Miller, Mike and Callie, Figure in a Bubble, Doug Guito, Blair Dad Life, Alex Serrato, Pliskin Incorporated, Andreas IB, Earth 616 Collector, Tony Tom, Saphira Cosplay, Aaron Broverman, Big Rib, as Dean would say, Big Dog Pound 1, Akira, Monroe Reveal, Stoned Capybara, Vita, aka her geeky side, Field of Burn, Figure Poser, and then of course our Nut Kings, SpongeBob SquareBalls, miss that guy every single week, Mr. Collecting Weekly, The Batman 12-inch Moose Dream, X-Men Supreme, Peter Cass, Valkyrie Magnus, Ron E, 1Adam12, Sith Scale Collector, OG Fan when Star Wars was just Star Wars, Manny Fresh, 369, Trevor Weed, and Tijuana Mike, aka King Churro. Guys, thank you so much for being channel members. The link is in the channel here as well, so if you guys want to become a member, it's pinned to the top of our comment chat there. Of course, if you are just watching, whether you're here live with us right now or watching on replay, you're here on the Ben Thomas Show. For the love of Jesus, I love you all. Thank you so much. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. It's appreciated. I can't wait to see you guys next week. Mr. Adam and Mr. Dave, I think it's safe to say that, of course, we got nuts. And thanks for watching, everybody.
Wow, what a great audience. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Because subscribing makes you feel good.
Where's I go? What do I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
It's gone. It's all gone.